Welcome in to Skap Live After Dark. Welcome to the lounge, the post-game lounge here. Game 5, NBA Finals, Oklahoma City, Indiana Pacers. And again, can't say I'm too surprised by where we're at right now. Can't say I'm too shocked by the outcome of this game or the series. It is again playing out in lockstep to that semifinal series played out between OKC and the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets tantalizingly close, seemingly throughout that series. So too are the Indiana Pacers, though they were down mostly all of this game. They were down by as much as 18 in the first half, as many as 15 throughout various stanzas of the second half. But yet the Indiana Pacers just stick with it, stay in it. They cut it actually miraculously somehow to 2 points in the fourth quarter of tonight's game. It looked like maybe this was another setting ripe for another Oklahoma City Thunder gag job, but ultimately just not enough. Too much Thunder, really too much Jalen Williams, too much of that guy who is routinely disparaged and slandered by all of the SGA thirst mongrels out there. Of course, yes, Jalen Williams played poorly in the semifinals last year, the series they lost ultimately to the Dallas Mavericks. That was, though, at the age of, I believe, 22 years old. This year, he is a bona fide superstar. I've been saying it all year. He is better by far than any second running mate that Nikola Jokic has ever sniffed. He made an all-star, an all-NBA designation, all-NBA defensive designation, all just this season. Still a very young and upcoming player. And he has had struggles throughout some of these postseason games in this playoff run. But when he has been needed, by and large, he has always been there, always been monumental for the Thunder, I think, throughout these playoffs and the games when he is needed most. None truer than tonight. The kid, Jalen Williams, the guy who, of course, is allegedly an overrated sidekick for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tonight. How's 40 points grab you? A 40-point performance from the all-star Jalen Williams. 6 rebounds, 4 assists to go along with it. Only 1 turnover. He shot 14 of 25 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line, and 9 of 12 from the free throw line. Great game, though, from SGA, not taking anything away from him. 31 points on 9 of 21, though, shooting from the field. He, again, a big free throw night for him. 13 of 14 from the free throw line. Really, him and Jalen Williams shooting a ton of free throws. I'm sure you guys will want to talk about that. SGA, though, a big 10-assist game tonight, coming on the heels of his 0-assist game last game. So 31 and 10 for him tonight. But to me, the big story was Jalen Williams hitting a series of humongous shots down the stretch, really throughout the entire game. And 2 bench performances, good bench performances from the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, and Aaron Wiggins and Cason Wallace, both in double digits off of the bench. On the other end, though, there are some things that we simply must attend to on the other end, the Pacers side of the equation here, who, again, cut this game to a 2-point, it made a 2-point margin, cut the Thunder lead to a 2-point lead in the fourth quarter, a game that they were trailing by double digits most of the night. And yet they got right back into it into the fourth quarter, trailing by only 2 at one point. That despite Tyrese Halliburton going for only 4 points on 0 of 6 shooting from the field tonight. I just need to let that just sit on that, let it marinate for a moment here. 4 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds on 0 of 6 shooting from the field for Tyrese Halliburton in 34 minutes of game play. And look, I said going into this series when I previewed this game, 10 days ago now at this point, and I said, I'm not going to hold against Tyrese Halliburton. I'm not going to hold it against him, whatever I see throughout the course of this series, rather. And that pretty much holds true by and large. I am not going to hold the series as a whole against Tyrese Halliburton because I think this was an uphill battle primarily for him, not just the Pacers, but primarily for him from the get-go. So I'm not going to sit back at the very end of this series, ultimately when the Thunder more than likely win it in 7. And I'm not going to look back and say, oh, well, Tyrese Halliburton, whatever. He came in tonight averaging 17, 7, and 6. Kind of a pedestrian series for him overall. But again, I'm not going to hold it against him. Well, other than tonight's game, because damn it, someone has to hold him accountable for this game. So why not me? Why can it not be me that does it? I've been actually defending Tyrese Halliburton throughout the course of this series, throughout the plethora of just mediocre, subpar performances he's laid down. I think he had really just one good game so far out of 5 in this series, and then really 2 good quarters in the fourth quarters, if you want to drill into that. But other than that, he has been pedestrian, and tonight he was pathetic. 0 of 6. I mean, for 4 points on 0 of 6 shooting and only 6 assists, 3 turnovers, by the way. And before we dig more into Tyrese Halliburton, turnovers, speaking of turnovers, that was really the big undoing for the Indiana Pacers. You simply can't do it. You cannot beat yourself against this team. They're too good. The Oklahoma City Thunder are. They have too many things going for them. They're going to shoot too many free throws. You cannot play into it. They had 22 turnovers tonight. Really, like I said, only 3 actually by Halliburton. It was a really evenly displaced performance tonight by the Indiana Pacers, a team effort, if you will, of turnovers. Aaron Naismith led the way with 5, but other than that, a plethora. 1, 2. I'm trying to look here at the turn. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Siakam that had 6 actually. And other than that, it was just really well displaced. Siakam, though, Siakam was their best player. Siakam is leading the Indiana Pacers in scoring for this series, not Tyrese Halliburton. He had 28 points tonight on 9 of 15 shooting. But again, the 6 turnovers, and the turnovers were the theme tonight. 22 again. You just can't do it against this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They only had 11, by the way, did the Thunder. And just kind of a methodical, beat you down kind of performance by the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're just playing out the same script that they played out against the Denver Nuggets, who looked to be in that series most of the way, just did not have enough ultimately. The Thunder were actually up by, I think, 9 in their game 5 at Oklahoma City at one point at the 9-minute mark in that semifinal series. The Nuggets were up 9. They couldn't finish it off. The Thunder went on this just flurry to close the fourth quarter in that one. And that was their second. It's the same exact games. They blow game 1, choke it away to the Pacers, just like they did against the Nuggets. And they've alternated. The game splits have been exactly the same. So based on that series, if we were playing it out the same way that it went in that semi against Denver, then the Pacers will come home in game 6, next game on, I believe it's Thursday night, stave off elimination, send it back to Oklahoma City for a 7th game where the Thunder will just obliterate the Pacers. If we're playing it out step by step from that series, though I for one am not getting the feel that the Pacers necessarily have the juice to do it, to force that game 7 at this point. Look, I mean, I guess, look, say what you will. This was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter, and their superstar, their alleged star, Tyrese Halliburton, with only 4 points on 0 of 6 shooting, 0 of 4 from the 3-point line, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, just 4 points from the charity stripe. That's it for the entire game for Tyrese Halliburton. So I suppose if Tyrese Halliburton can pull his head out of his ass for game 6, maybe potentially, possibly, we can get this into a game 7. Otherwise, I just don't see any way that Halliburton can have a similar performance to what he did tonight in the next game and them have any shot at winning it. I guess we shall see what he looks like. The one thing I don't want to hear anything about is this alleged foot injury. That's the one thing I have no tolerance for. I just don't care about. I don't want to hear it. Allegedly, he was nursing some kind of a foot injury last game. And, the word was apparently he's going to be unaffected by the foot injury. The head coach there said, no big deal. Carlisle, he said, not concerned, not worried about it. I don't want to hear now. Now, apparently, he took a misstep in the first half, or landed a little awkwardly when he came down, when he tripped. I don't want to hear any of these excuses. Damn it! I am so sick and tired of lack of accountability by superstar players. If you're on the floor, you're on the floor. If you're not playing, then you're obviously hurt, of course. But it just is what it is. We can. I don't want to hear excuses made for Halliburton that he played poorly tonight because he was hurt. Look, he may well be hurt, but still, there are levels to this. If you are a megastar, a superstar in the NBA, which people have been discussing Tyrese Halliburton in the mix of those conversations, including myself, saying that he's a fringe top 10 player heading into next season. If we're going to be discussing him in this kind of a footing with these other great players, I don't care what the injury is. If you're capable of being out on the floor and playing, you're expected to do better than 4 points and no field goal makes in 34 minutes of a pivotal Game 5 NBA Finals Series swing game. As we all are well aware of in these games, maybe we're not. Let me just go ahead and put it forth for you guys. First of all, welcome into the lounge, by the way, to all of you that are here on a Monday. It is a Monday night, right? Welcome into all of you, and moderator Gary, who is on hand as usual. But here's a little factoid, NBA factoid, all time throughout the course of NBA history, across all series, from the first to the last, so all 4 rounds of the playoffs. A team that wins Game 5 in a series that is split 2-2 goes on to win the series ultimately 81% of the time. So this was as pivotal as a game as you could possibly imagine, especially because had the Pacers had won it, they would have had the potential to go to Indiana next game and win this series there. And again, they were losing much of the game. They were getting beat up pretty badly, actually, much of the game. But this was a 2-point game at one point in the fourth quarter, and Tyrese Halliburton had all of 4 points on no field goal makes. Just not acceptable. So, and I don't want to, there will be a myriad of reports going on, people pretending to be doctors, diagnosing this on various social media streams and outlets and platforms. I don't care. Whatever it is. What is it? A sprained ankle or something? I don't care what it is. He was on the court tonight for 34 minutes. It does not excuse 0 of 6 from the field for only 4 points and only 6 assists. He dropped a triple single. So ultimately, look, I've been defending this guy throughout this series. As I said, as I predicted I would be when we highlighted this back again like 10 days ago, I said, the Thunder are going to win. Tyrese Halliburton is going to look really bad, and I am not going to deduct points away from what I've seen throughout the course of his playoff run prior to this series, because it has been all-time great. And even if you sprinkle in that Game 1 game winner in this very series, this postseason for Halliburton has been an all-time great playoff run for Tyrese Halliburton, and he is playing absolute jackals on defense on the other side. 3 elite, all-world, like top 5 caliber perimeter defenders. I knew it was going to look really bad for Halliburton. I think ultimately when the dust clears, the smoke clears, the dust settles and all of that, I think I will still look back very favorably and fondly on Halliburton for the entirety of this postseason run. But tonight is not the night to celebrate or defend, and I certainly don't want to make excuses, nor do I want to see any excuses about some rogue phantom leg injury he may or may not be dealing with. I don't care. Then sit. If you can't play, if you're that hurt, then sit. Don't play at all. Because more than likely he just hurt. If he was that hurt that this is as good as he could do, he likely just hurt the Pacers more than he helped them. He was a minus 13 on the night overall, which was coincidentally second worst on the team. I almost said it was worst. It was the second worst number on the team. Obi Toppin's minus 16 was the worst. And that was despite the fact that Toppin had 12 points tonight. But the big bench, look, it looks like the Pacers seemingly get a different bench player to have a monstrous game for them every game, seemingly. Tonight looked no different as TJ McConnell shout out to him because he's from Pittsburgh, as am I. McConnell had the big game tonight for the Indiana Pacers. 18 points, 8 of 14 from off the bench, and he was a +4 tonight. Actually, the Pacers bench played quite well tonight. It was the Thunder starters tonight that really got it done. Behind, yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his 14 free throw attempts, but still a great game from him, 31 points, 10 assists. But the big story to me on the side of the Oklahoma City Thunder, again, is Jalen Williams, all-star, all-NBA defensive player Jalen Williams with 40 points. Man. And really, it was just those two, other than the two bench performances they got. The Thunder starter otherwise, Chet Holmgren, no idea what's going on with him. 4 of 15 tonight, just 9 points. Not a great look for him. And I continue. This is make it game, whatever, 5 straight now of this series of me coming on in the aftermath during a post-game breakdown of this series and openly wondering what in the hell is Daigneault, head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, what is he doing with Isaiah Hartenstein? Again, he's inserted into the starting lineup tonight, but plays in only 21 minutes. So just 4 points for Hartenstein tonight, 4 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists in only 21 minutes on 1 of 2 shooting. Like, why is this guy not playing more? Like, I continue to be openly baffled by the Hartenstein minutes that is being managed by Daigneault, last year's coach of the year. Obviously, though, look, as I've been saying, as I've been talking about it all the way along, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the Thunder do, how poorly they perform, how low they play down to their opponents, how they no-show for entire games or vast majority of games. Guys, ultimately, here's the skinny. This is now 3-2 series for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have 2 opportunities to win 1 more game, and the last opportunity will be coming, if needed, in a potential home Game 7 scenario. So look, as I've been saying, I hate to do it, but I'm just going to slide on here, and I'm just going to have to say I told you so to everybody in the live chat. We've got about 350 people in here. Again, welcome to all of you. And I've been saying it ad nauseum since September or August, whenever the first time I initially made my call. The Oklahoma City Thunder this year would easily win the NBA championship. Now, it hasn't been as easy as I speculated or expected it to be, mainly a commentary on these guys not playing up to their potential, in my estimation, in every game. Hell, in every quarter, in every game. Like, they play essentially to potential about half of the time in the series, and that is going to be enough to win the first of what I expect will be many championships to come for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's where we stand. Another valiant effort by the Indiana Pacers, just like the Denver Nuggets gave valiant effort after valiant effort in that series in the semifinals. Just not enough, because the Oklahoma City Thunder have too much. Their bench is better than your bench. And if your bench, like the Pacers bench, has been better most of the time in this series, then, well, Oklahoma City's starters are better than your starters. Their best guy is better than your best guy. Their second guy is better than your second best guy. Their top 3 is better than your best 3, your top 3. It's just, they're just better by a lot than every team in the NBA. Their margin for differential is so high. They can show up with C, D, E games and still come out with an NBA championship. That's what I meant 9 months ago when I said they would easily win an NBA championship. I've heard nothing but excuses all the way along the way. They're too young. They're too inexperienced. Blah, 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 blah. Nah. We're 1 win away now, and it ain't going to be Indiana. I will be absolutely stupefied if Indiana wins 2 games back-to-back now at this point to win this championship. It's all but a formality. Will it be next game in Indiana, or will it be the following night in Oklahoma City that the Thunder are going to be hoisting a championship trophy? We will find out on Thursday what the Pacers have left in the tank in terms of potentially pushing it to a 7th game. But for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, this series is over. It was over before it even started. The Pacers have made it somewhat entertaining, and it made it an enjoyable watch. At least it wasn't just a complete sweep or like a 5-game gentleman sweep, which is what I anticipated before the series began. But nonetheless, all roads led to here. We are 48 minutes away from the Oklahoma City Thunder hoisting the Larry O'Brien, from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting the Finals MVP, and to go along with his regular season MVP. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, guys, whether you want to hear it or not, will be cemented as one of the all-time great teams in NBA history, single season, when you look at it, despite their pathetic, putrid effort throughout a large portion of these playoffs. Just absolutely pathetic, if you ask me. And in the Denver series, this series, they can't look. They came out, they dusted Minnesota like I expected them to, like I thought they should. They did. Whatever. The first round playing against the Memphis Grizzlies, who had just fired their coach like a month earlier. They were in complete disarray. They, by the way, make a blockbuster trade, which we can get into as well. In fact, let me just go ahead and get this little software update thing that keeps yelling at me out of my face. And let me just mention that real quickly. Then we'll welcome in moderator Gary, and we can get into some super chats as well from you guys. As always, very generous in your donations already tonight. We have some queued up. But yes, there was some off-the-court news yesterday while we were waiting for this Game 5 to play out. Desmond Bane is traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic. Now, we've all been waiting eagerly to figure out where, if anywhere, will Giannis Antetokounmpo get traded? And of course, it is a formality that Kevin Durant will be on the way. He's going somewhere. We just don't know where. He, by the way, has said that there are 3 teams specifically that he wants to go to that he will sign an extension with, that being the Miami Heat, the Houston Rockets, and the San Antonio Spurs, though league sources still believe that Minnesota is in the mix of this thing and still trying to make something happen there on that front. So while we're waiting for those 2 superstars to be dealt in some kind of a mega blockbuster deal as we inch closer and closer to the NBA draft, lo and behold, the Orlando Magic fly into the mix here, and they make a blockbuster trade, I guess, if you expect or think that Desmond Bane would be at the forefront of a blockbuster deal. I don't know if Desmond Bane has that kind of cash built up league-wide. I think he's a great young player. He scored about 18 points per game this year. He was over 20 points per game, I think, in 2 or 3 of the last 4 seasons. However, he's just kind of one of those fringe all-star types. He's never actually made an all-star appearance. I, though, really do like this deal for the Orlando Magic. If Paolo Banchero and if Franz Wagner stay healthy and play out the majority of a season and are available into the playoffs, and Desmond Bane is your 3rd option, basically, some games probably 4th option, I like that. I think the Orlando Magic might well be, especially with what's going on with Boston, they might be shedding some contracts. They're not going to have Tatum all year. I think the Orlando Magic have positioned themselves pretty favorably. They're going to be a top 2 or 3 team, I think, in the Eastern Conference now, barring health, moving into the next season. So I actually do like this deal for Bane, but look at what they give up. Look at the package that became Desmond Bane. It was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony, so 2 pretty good role players, and 4 unprotected first-round picks. Now, let me explain this to you guys real quick before I bring in moderator Gary. There are ways to trade first-rounders. You can do pick swaps. So, let's say your team A's swap, they're drafting at a better, higher position, so you have the ability to switch your pick for theirs. Or you could trade a first-round pick and have it be protected in some way. So carry some level of protections. Like one of these picks that the Orlando Magic dealt is going to turn into the Phoenix Suns pick next year. Once the Suns trade Kevin Durant, they're in full rebuild mode. So they're probably going to be one of the 5 bottom teams in the NBA next year, which would mean this Suns pick has the potential to be a top 5 pick. So, you would have the ability as the team sending it out to say, look, we'll trade you these picks, these first rounders. However, there's top 5 protection to it, or top 10 protection, meaning if it turns into a top 5 pick, you don't get it. The 4 firsts that went out with KCP and Cole Anthony for Bane carry no swaps, no protections. 4 first-round picks with no protections or stipulations on them for Desmond Bane, for no-time All-Star Desmond Bane, plus 2 good role players in KCP and Cole Anthony. So my question is this: what the hell kind of a package is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to command? If that's the kind of package that Bane brought back, I realize that just because Bane went for that, it doesn't necessarily mean that now Giannis becomes worth 9 first-round picks. I know it doesn't necessarily work like that. But looking around the league and seeing what some of these trade packages are commanding back, it just makes me even more. I would say I was positive initially that Giannis, right when the playoffs ended and Dame ruptured the Achilles, I was certain that Giannis was going to get traded. I become more and more skeptical as the weeks have gone on, as Giannis has remained relatively silent, not been demanding any kind of a trade or putting any input into it. I become more and more skeptical that any kind of a deal was going to get done. And now, in the light of this package, I'm even more skeptical that anybody is going to be able to grease the tracks with enough to make Milwaukee consider moving him without any pressure being applied by Antetokounmpo. Durant, we know he's gone. I still think that the package is going to be lesser than what Bane brought back, primarily because, look, Durant is 37 years old, or he's about to be, and he has named 3 teams specifically, so he's only really willing to sign an extension with the 3 teams that he's named. So anyway, I just wanted to drop that little factoid or whatever, discuss that, bring that into the conversation in the mix. If you guys wanted to get into any of the resultant fallout pertaining to that Desmond Bane trade, or discuss that Desmond Bane trade in any way, shape, or form, or any of these other juicy little trades that we keep awaiting for. I keep hearing any day now for Kevin Durant. So still really no traction on that end. Again, the draft is the 25th. It is now 9 days away, and we are potentially 2 days away from crowning a new NBA champion. As we came on discussing the post game here in the aftermath, a 120-109 Oklahoma City Thunder victory, moving just 1 win away from hoisting their Larry O'Brien trophy. And welcome in moderator Gary. Thanks for being here tonight. Anything you'd like to say to anybody on the chat at this point?
No, not really. I mean, series is going about how I expected. As far as the trades are going, I'm thinking it looks like Kevin Durant's going to the Spurs. I've heard that the Suns would get their number 14 pick, and they would get like Jeremy Sohan and Devin Vessel and Harrison Barnes, which doesn't break us. That's why I was concerned about the Giannis thing, because obviously Milwaukee's going to want to take Stephon Castle, who I think is a perfect complementary piece for Wemby. And then they're going to take their draft capital for the next decade. I just don't want to give everything up, the future up, to have a couple good years with Giannis, like a lot of people think the Spurs should do. But
yeah, well, the package that you just laid out is not, like you said, that's not like a make or break. Like, it's not crippling you for the future.
Right.
So, I mean,
okay with that.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty good deal. And I wouldn't hate that move either for either party.
Yeah.
Either the Spurs or Durant. Like, I would kind of like that for both team. Because for both team and player, I don't think it makes the Spurs the favorite to win the championship. It doesn't make them a super team or anything like that, but it does get them a step closer. And if Durant is able to get them over the top and help them win, then it doesn't look like, a gravy train ring for Durant either. So I would like to see him go to San Antonio. Really, I wouldn't care any of the teams they're talking about right now, the Heat, the Spurs, or the Rockets. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to any of those teams. Really, the only team that was annoying the shit out of me when I was hearing the reports is Minnesota. So hopefully, it sounds like Durant doesn't really want to go there. So maybe Durant himself is even thinking like, look, the optics aren't going to map out here. Like, this team went to 2 Western Conference Finals. I don't want any part of that. Like, I want to go help a team that's further away, maybe. So hopefully, I'm hopeful that he does not end up in Minnesota, and he will have the say so on that, because he's on an expiring deal. So I don't think Minnesota is going to give up too much of a package without a confirmation from him that he's willing to extend for a couple years afterwards, something that he's unwilling to give to Minnesota at this point, but that he has given to those other three teams. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I think the Spurs probably have the best. I think they're best. Like you said, they're probably the best positioned team of those three because they have the most assets, so that they could give up more assets without gutting themselves or, injuring their potential ability to compete after they make the deal for Durant. So I think the Spurs do make a lot of sense on a number of levels. So hopefully it gets done soon. If it does, in the next few days, maybe I'll come on here. There will be a video of some sort, but then maybe I'll also come on here and discuss it on some kind of a live forum show as well. But yeah, that is pretty much the most. I think, Gary, I've just been waiting for these trade things to go down because that is the most excitement, I think. Once this series was set, I was thinking this wasn't going to be a very intriguing series at all. I can't believe that we were going to get 6 and maybe even 7 games out of it. So it's been more intriguing than I expected. But again, just like with the Denver series, while the Pacers have played their hearts out, and I commend them and I tip my hat to them, you never really fully get the sense they've ever been in any position to realistically threaten in this series, just like the Nuggets. Like the Nuggets were there every step of the way. They were ahead some of the way, and then they were right there even at the later stages of the series. But you never got the sense that when push came to shove and the Thunder really turned it on, that the Nuggets had that gear to get up to that next level and beat them. And that's the same way I feel about this Pacers series. So the Pacers have given us everything we could hope from them to this point. But Gary, I'm with you. I think the series is playing out pretty much as should have been anticipated. And now we just kind of sit and wait and try to figure out where are these guys going. I think I see some
winning game 6 though. I had no way I see them winning game 7, but I can see them stretching it out, especially if they have a hot hand. Like they're capable. If anything we've learned from this series, they're capable of winning any one game if they get hot and play well together. They play very well as a unit. So props to them for that. So I could see them stretching it to 6, but yeah, no way they would go into OKC and win game 7.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is, again, they lose by 11 tonight. They were down. It looked like they were on the cusp of getting obliterated multiple times. Like I said, they were down 18 at one point in the first. They were down 15 multiple times in the second. And then they're right there again in the fourth in a one-score game. And all of that, again, despite the fact that Halliburton, 4 points on 0 of 6 from the field, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, a triple single from their superstar, and they were still right there. So, I mean, the Pacers obviously do have what it takes to get this back to a game 7. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
They have to have everything perfectly clicking on all cylinders, and OKC has to be off. If OKC has everything clicking on all cylinders, I mean, they'll win by 40 without much problem. But that's the thing. Indy has to have everything go perfectly, and OKC has to be off in order for the Pacers to have a chance at winning, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I just want to say again, Jalen Williams, I'm sorry, he turned 24 in April. So he was 23. His birthday was 4/14. So he turned 24 basically like a week before the playoffs began. And he's just been, he's just been fantastic. I'm looking at his last 4 games, his last 4 games, 19 points, 26 points, 27 points, 40 points. So, I mean, this guy, he's really stepped into his own. Again, he gets routinely discredited, I think. That's just a move by the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Glazers, the sniffers, if you will, to try to disparage his supporting cast and try to make his lift look bigger or better than what it actually is. He's been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the MVP in this series is going to be Shai's to have, of course, when they ultimately win, whenever that is going to be, whether it's next game or game 7. But Gary, what do you say? We've got about 20 super chats already. We're about we're 35 minutes in to the lounge here tonight on Skap After Dark. Welcome into all of you 300 some people that are here. Gary, what do you say we kickstart these supers with the Enforcer, who is, I see there's a couple other ones coming from the Enforcer. Just a regular here in the lounge, regular contributor, regular sponsor. Many thanks for being here as always, Enforcer. I appreciate you. Gary, what's this first one say?
Indy deserves to lose. Yes, OKC defense is strong, but the Pacers should have gotten credited with some assists on OKC baskets this and the last game.
Yeah, the Pacers, look, again, we said it coming in here, 22 turnovers. You can't do it. I know it's easier said than done. I talked about it against Denver too. They just apply so much pressure. I think some of it is legal, some of it is illegal. Maybe you can make a point that the Thunder get away with a lot of physicality on the defensive side, which leads to these turnovers. But for whatever reason, they just turn you over a ton. They have great perimeter defenders. Great. Again, I've been saying it. I will continue to say it. Jalen Williams and Lou Dort were both All-NBA defense this year. Personally, I think Alex Caruso, I think, might be the best defender of them all. And he didn't qualify because he missed so many games in the regular season. He did not qualify for All-NBA defensive designations. So I think those three, basically, you can make a case those are maybe the three of the four best perimeter defenders the planet has to offer on one team. So yeah, they're going to turn you over a lot. And they've got two great defensive bigs as well. And Shea is a very good defender as well. So literally, they just throw great defenders 1 through basically 7 or 8 at you. They're going to apply a lot of pressure, and you just have to do your best to not acquiesce and not turn the ball over. Tonight, Indiana just didn't do it. 22 turnovers, keyed them throughout most of the night, and they just had enough between SGA and Jalen Williams to get this one over the hump at the end. And now, like I said, two consecutive wins for them, just like they did to Denver. After they went down 2-1 against Denver, they won games 4 and 5. And here we are, same, just a carbon copy of that series. We'll see if the Pacers can keep walking in the Nuggets' footsteps and get it back to a game 7. I don't know. I think the Pacers bench, which has been fantastic throughout this series, is going to loom large when they go home. Benches and role players typically always do play better at home. So I think they will be playing. I think they'll be up to the challenge, the Indiana Pacers secondary players. But look, if Tyrese Halliburton, if their alleged best player, is going to play this level, I just don't know that it's going to matter, quite frankly. I hopefully, whatever, I don't know what's going on with the foot. I don't even want to talk about it. Like I said, in the open, I don't want to give any excuses or reasons. He looked a little off, I guess, but it's hard to say if it's some nagging foot injury or just the great defensive front that they're throwing on the perimeter at him. But Enforcer, yes. Yes, the answer is yes. I agree with you. Indiana, they played right into the hands of Oklahoma City tonight, and they're going to have to minimize those turnovers moving forward. They had 20-some in the first game 2 of this series, somehow won that game, but they only 4 or 5 of those turnovers came in the second half of game 1. They just pretty much steadily turned it over throughout the majority of tonight, and you can't do it against this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Next in is DSP Historical Society. What is up, DSP? Welcome into you. Gary, what's this one say?
NBA doing everything they can to give this to OKC.
Well, I don't know about. I mean, there's a lot of speculation, estimation that the NBA is rigging this for some reason or in some way for Oklahoma City. Again, I think there are questionable calls that the Thunder get the benefit of. They're a very physical team. I think they play overly physical. I think they do commit a lot of fouls. They don't get called for on the defensive end. In terms of the thing, though, that most people complain about most of the year is the free throw shooting, the free throw discrepancy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander foul baiting. I just simply haven't seen that element of it in this series. Look, the Thunder shot 32 free throws tonight. Again, that's a lot of free throws, but the Pacers shot 30. So again, the free throw disparity is just not there in this series. So I know that everybody wants to talk about all the free throws Shea shoots. He did shoot a lot tonight, 13 of 14 for him. But overall, the disparity is just not being bared out. It's 32 to 30 tonight. It was like whatever 38 to 34 last game. It's pretty much just a 1-to-1 free throw situation going on right now in the series. We can obviously look back at that at the end of the series and see where the advantage might have lied there. But I think the only thing I would say, which I did see happening to the Nuggets, they get the benefit of the doubt of not getting whistled for, I'd say, over aggressive defensive play, bordering on fouls. But it's not just the Thunder. Throughout NBA history, the aggressive team, the more physical aggressive team, typically gets the benefit of the doubt. They typically do get less calls less calls against them, more favorable calls going their way, because you just can't call them for foul every single time down the floor. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but I don't think there's any grand scheme by the NBA to make Oklahoma City NBA champions right now. Why? Like, what's the benefit to the NBA? I don't, maybe if it was New York in there and they were giving New York all the calls to try to make the Knicks win, that would make sense. But I don't understand why there would be this grand scheme from the beginning of the year. Like, oh, let's make this like collection of 25-year-old no-name kids at this minuscule, tiny franchise in this tiny market. Let's figure out a way.
Okay, maybe I'm not saying that DSP is correct. I'm saying possibly one reason could be to build SGA and try to make him into he's not going to be Jordan or Kobe, but he could be to this generation. He could be this generation's Jordan or Kobe. Possibly.
Here's the thing, though. I think the better guy to do that with, and the guy they were trying to do it with just last year, is Anthony Edwards.
Right. He's just like I said, he's too inconsistent, though. It's not going to work out with him. He's really good.
Gary, what does my man Nikola Jokic have to do to get some calls? He's won 3 league MVPs. He already has a championship. Why can't the NBA devise some grand scheme to get? Why couldn't they call Oklahoma City for like 8 straight fouls down in the first, second quarter of Game 7 when they were fouling the shit out of him, gotten their entire team in foul trouble, and then the Nuggets would have won that game, and now they'd be on, and they could be building Jokic. Like, what is my man? Why is my guy not getting?
I think the agile guards / forwards are more marketable to be in that Jordan Kobe category. Obviously, I think Jokic is the best player currently in the league. And then I think it's going to be, in however long it takes, 2, maybe 3 years for Wembanyama is going to take that. And I think he's going to have the league on lock, assuming that he's healthy. But
he's a big. He plays more guard light, but he's not an agile guard.
I know. No. I said Jokic is the best player right now, and then I think Wemby will be the best player. I didn't say Wemby's necessarily going to be the most marketable, but because he is so unique, he very well may. They may make that exception, but aesthetically, Jokic doesn't look like the typical guy that they're going to want to promote, whereas SGA fits that. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying DSP is correct or that it is rigged for OKC. I'm just saying that could be the one. I mean, look, they gave it to the MVP to SGA this year over Jokic, even though Jokic had one of the historically great seasons of all time this year. So obviously they're behind SGA, so it would kind of make sense for them to also get behind OKC. So just something to think about.
I guess so. I guess you guys could weave the conspiracy theory quilt here. I just don't see necessarily the benefit to the NBA, but maybe. I mean, I guess I still think SGA is not overly marketable either. They're trying, but I love him. I like his game. He's an understated guy. He's a more quiet, humble player, which I like, and I like his game too. Like he's more of a mid-range assassin. He doesn't have, like, his game isn't that loud. He doesn't have the flashy athleticism. He doesn't play above the rim, and he's not this like crazy, like arrogant player either. Like, so he's kind of lacking in the marketability standpoint as well, in my estimation. They are trying, though. I'll give you that. They definitely are. Okay, next in we've got Thurston Furcox. I like that. Thurston. I like that name, Thurston. Welcome into you, Thurston. Congratulations on a great name and a great handle. Gary, what does Thurston have for us tonight?
Well, Halliburton with a 2011 LeBron James gag job. SGA plus J-Dub equal Gen Z, Jordan, and Pippen.
Now, see, here's the thing. I'm not willing to go to the levels of calling Halliburton a 2011 LeBron James gag job for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, LeBron James was back-to-back league MVP at that point. People, despite the fact Kobe was clearly the best player in the NBA at the time still, people were still speculating that LeBron James was the best player in the world at that time. So back-to-back league MVP, who was by many being uplifted as the best player in the NBA at the time, on a super team with another top 4 player, 3 or 4 player league-wide in Dwayne Wade, and another top 15 player in Chris Bosh, an unbeatable super team, playing against another team that had only one All-Star on it, and whose second leading scorer for that series was a 30-something-year-old, 6'2" bench player journeyman. So, look, Tyrese Halliburton's not even barely a top 10 player. I think at most generous ranking, people would say he's like top, like 10th, maybe. He's not on the better team here at all. In fact, he's playing a budding super team type. At least they're not a super team because of the way they were built, but that caliber of a dynastically excellent team. So I don't think in any regard can you just in so many different areas, you just cannot stack that up and make that into the same relative footing as what LeBron James accomplished or lack thereof in the 2011 series. Not even close, in my opinion. In fact, Thurston, you just kind of debunk your own first part of the statement with the second part by saying SGA and J-Dub are the Gen Z, MJ, and Scotty. Well, if Tyrese Halliburton is playing against the incarnation of MJ and Scotty, which I'm not going that far with them, but they are great. Then if that is what level those two are at, then how in the world could this be a choke job or a gag job by Halliburton with the lesser of these two teams? It just doesn't make sense, Thurston. We can sit here and crack back on Halliburton. It's an unacceptable performance. It's a disgraceful, unacceptable performance, and a true superstar, no matter what injury they're dealing with, no matter what kind of talent disparity they're facing, would not be making 0 field goals in an entire 34-minute game that they played and scoring single-digit points in a pivotal Game 5 swing in the NBA Finals. So perhaps I did go a bit too far in labeling this guy a superstar. Maybe he isn't that, because this is an unacceptable performance, but it certainly isn't a 2011 LeBron James level gag job, Thurston. I have to disagree with you on that. Next back in again is Thurston, or the Enforcer. Sorry again, Thurston. Thank you. I've got Thurston stuck in my head. That's a great name. But the Enforcer is back in again. Many thanks to you again, Enforcer, for your continued support. Gary, what does this next one from the Enforcer say?
Shout out to TJ. He gave Indiana a chance.
It was TJ McConnell's turn tonight. We've seen a number of good bench performances throughout this series by a couple different Indiana Pacer players. Tonight, it was Pittsburgh's own TJ McConnell with 18 big points off the bench and a +4 on the plus minus in 22 minutes. Hell, maybe they should have just played him more minutes than Tyrese Halliburton, the way that those two were playing throughout tonight's game, the way McConnell was playing versus the way Halliburton was playing. So, yes, absolutely. Shout out to Pittsburgh's finest, TJ McConnell. Next in, we've got Steph in again. What's up, Steph? Regular here in the lounge, regular on my channel. So always grateful to see you on board here, Steph, and welcome into you, Gary. What is it that Steph's got for us tonight?
I didn't want to say this, but I have Kobe over LeBron now. However, LeBron will always be greater than Steph Curry and that bum KD.
Well, it's just nice that Steph is finally coming around to my side, because Steph has been battling me for, I don't know, probably hundreds of comments, probably Steph has made like 500 comments, I bet, on my channel by now, fighting with me about various takes that I have. And I'm pretty sure one of them was the Kobe LeBron take. For until now, seemingly, this is the first that I'm hearing that he now has, Steph has Kobe over LeBron. But it's weird, though, that the handle is Steph. So I'm thinking that's like some kind of a Steph Curry homage for the handle. So I guess I'm totally off base on that, because Steph has LeBron over Steph and KD, which, Gary, we don't want to trigger you here on this KD LeBron topic. I think, look, for me, I think you can throw LeBron, Curry, and Durant all in a pot. The post 2011 guys, 2010 guys, which I think of LeBron in that, not before. So I'd say LeBron, Curry, and Durant, you can throw them all in a pot to me, mix them up. I think you can make a case for any one of them to be over the other two, and vice. Like, I could see them falling in any way, shade, like 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
They could all kind of be interchangeable in my estimation.
Yeah, and you're not going to get too much from me because I think I got everything out on that video that I made. Shout out to the chat. I'm going to put a link up if you guys want to check that out. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers over there if anybody wants to subscribe. So put a link to that video up, why I believe KD got robbed in 2012 and why I think he would have went on to be universally acknowledged greater than LeBron had they not been robbed in 2012. That's what I believe. Some people actually agree with me. Some people don't. That's fine. But yeah, I will hold off right now because, as you know, I can hijack the live stream and talk about this for an hour. So we will go ahead and move on to the next super chat,
which is DSP Historical Society back in. Go ahead and read this one.
He said, everyone be sure to check out Dangerous AI tonight. Dangerous AI is a YouTube channel, in case people in the chat were wondering.
Yes, and I think DSP Historical Society has talked about Dangerous AI in the past. I am aware of the channel. I don't, as I always say, I don't really follow other YouTubers. I don't really watch YouTube that much. So, but that I am aware of that one. I do see some of their stuff. It is pretty hilarious. So yes, but on DSP Historical Society's request, guys, make sure you check that out. Welcome in next to Emmanuel. What is up, Emmanuel? Welcome back into you. Many thanks to you for sponsoring us here in Skap After Dark Lounge. I do appreciate you and that. Gary, what does Emmanuel have for us tonight?
Hey, Skap, it's been a minute. I want OKC to win the chip because if they choke here in this pivotal moment, Shea may never get another shot. Also, I disagree that Chet is better than Jalen. He needs more muscle for more impact.
Well, I've been touting Chet for much of this playoff run as being the real second best player on this team, but that he just, now keep in mind, like Chet came out in the first like 10 games or so, he looked incredible. Like, I thought he would probably be all NBA defense this year, all NBA, and he broke his hip pretty early on into the regular season. He missed, I think, 50 complete games. And at that point in time, Isaiah Hartenstein came in and was a great filler for Chet. And obviously they didn't miss Chet at all because they won 68 games, broke the all-time NBA record for differential, became the #1 rated SRS team ever with Isaiah Hartenstein as the starter and Chet missing 50 games. And who knows if Chet has really ever been integrated the way that they looked like they were going to be using him in that first like 10-ish games or so. But there's no doubt in this series, for sure, in this series, and maybe I guess you could say for the postseason as a whole. Look, Chet's had his moments in this postseason, and Chet is invaluable in the sense where he is not only is he a great defender, and he does defend the rim well, but he's a very diverse defender. He can switch out on the perimeter. He can pick up guards. He's got a 7'4" wingspan as well. He is just a very, very valuable defensive performer for them. And he can also, as a big, step out and give you space and shoot threes and make shots from distance. I think Chet is a very unique player, and he's an invaluable linchpin in this run for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and in them becoming what they're going to be in future years to come. But yes, especially for this series tonight, to start the game coming into tonight's in the final series in 4 games, Chet Holmgren was averaging just 14 points per game, and Williams was averaging 22 points per game. And that's obviously just going to become more pronounced when you factor in game 5, where Chet did not have a good game at all tonight. Chet in 34 minutes had only 9 points on 4 of 15 shooting. Jalen Williams was magnificent, played 1 more minute only, but 14 of 25, 40 points. So that's going to become even more pronounced, the differential between what the two are doing, at least from a scoring standpoint. But again, Chet, and look, I'm saying Chet provides them provides them something more defensively, but you can even make the case that Jalen Williams is invaluable on that end too. Jalen Williams was an all-NBA defensive selection this season, so he's also great on that end of the ball as well. It's just a great situation to be in if you're Oklahoma City and if you're SGA, Emmanuel, which is why I disagree. Shea's going to be in this situation many more times because we're sitting here fighting a guy in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who won the MVP this year at like 26, has 2 guys, I think 2 perennial all-star caliber players in Chet and Jalen, and 2 potentially fringe all-NBA caliber performers as well with those 2 guys, and just a very, very deep and young bench. So that's just some of the reasons, Emmanuel, that I've been saying that they were going to win this championship all year, and why I feel like they're going to win several more to come. But Emmanuel, thank you so much for coming in and for your support here. We've got Hova R in next. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Gary, what's this one say?
For once, Stephen A was right. Halliburton should have sat down.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one on social media or YouTube. I won't speculate on what's going on with this alleged apparent lower body injury that he might have apparently aggravated early in this game. I don't know. He's out there. He's playing. He played 34 minutes. He is a superstar in the NBA, or so he is being dubbed and built up as a superstar in the NBA. He owes his team more than 4 points on 0 field goal makes in a game that he plays in 34 minutes of. Just an unacceptable performance by him, and a game that they were within 1 score of in the 4th quarter. So again, this a lot of my criticisms, or a lot of the lens in which I watch these games now in, because I did it when I was a huge Kobe Bryant fan, much of the lens of the league that I saw through at that point was in some kind of a commentary or reaction to things pertaining to Kobe Bryant. So I don't want this to be the case now, but some of me is looking through a lens of like Nikola Jokic. Like, what if Nikola Jokic had the Pacers? Like, we've been talking about like, what if Nikola Jokic were on the Thunder? Hell, what if he was just on the Pacers? Like, I mean, a game that could be a 1-score game in the 4th quarter against this Thunder team, where this guy, this alleged superstar, has not even made a field goal and has only 4 points. Like, what does Nikola Jokic have to do to get one of these really well-built, deep teams with like 8 guys that can shoot threes, defend, run around, switch on defense and stuff? Like, what do we need to do? What does he have to do to get that? Because what he's got isn't really getting it done. By the way, in case any of you are interested or curious, still the Denver Nuggets do not have a general manager. We are 9 days away from the draft. Of course, a draft in which they have no picks in somehow. So I guess it doesn't really matter the placement to the draft. But we also have all these deals going down. Russell Westbrook's backing out of his player option, so they're probably going to lose him. The Kevin Durant deal is getting finalized probably within the next 3 or 4 days or so. And the Denver Nuggets do not even have a general manager. This is the shit I'm talking about with Nikola Jokic. But anyway, I don't want to get on a Jokic rant here. Next in is DSP Historical Society, back in yet again. Welcome back into the party, pal, and thanks for being here. Gary, what's this latest one say?
Am I the only one who confuses Nembhard and Neesmith?
I mean, maybe you're the only. I mean, I'm sure you're not the only one in the world. I guess two similarly sounding names, I guess. I don't know. Both in the starting lineup tonight. And it's mainly, I think, the heroes of the Pacers, in my estimation, throughout most of this series has been the bench. Their bench play has really been the thing that has been significant in terms of something that's been better for them than has been for the Oklahoma City Thunder, something that I think has held them in the game. They had in that one huge win they got in game 3, that huge bench advantage, 49-18 in that game. So yeah, I don't know DSB, or I don't necessarily get them confused, but I guess I could kind of see where you're coming from. Will N is in next. What do we got from Will N? Will N, thank you. Welcome back to you. And Gary, what does Will have for us?
iHeart is like the Mitch Robinson of the Thunder.
Like, is in puzzling management of him and like no rhyme or reason for the way they're using him. Yeah, I can see that. What does Isaiah Hartenstein have to do to get more playing time? I don't know. Like I said, he was the guy when Chet Holmgren was out for 50 games this year in the regular season. Hartenstein was like the guy. In the regular season this year, and he missed some games too because he had a broken hand to start the season. So like when Chet was playing well at the beginning of the year, Hartenstein wasn't playing because he was overcoming a broken hand. Then when Chet broke his hip, Hartenstein was kind of ready to come back, so he came back into the mix then at that point. In the regular season, in 57 games, he averaged 11 points and 11 rebounds per game and 4 assists. But like early on in the season, I feel like he was just playing. He was getting more opportunities, obviously, with the Chet injury, and he was like, I'm looking through some of these game logs, like 19-13, 21-9, 16-11, 15-10, like it just 18-9. Like it just seems like this guy has the capacity. He had a couple stretches. 20-7, 11-9, 12-10, 24-13. Like it just seemed like this guy was an integral aspect, an integral part of this team. And especially, look, I remember the Nuggets series vividly when they barely played him and they were just switching for whatever reason. Dagnall was alternating Hartenstein and Holmgren's minutes, and Jokic was masterful and historically dominant in that first game. Then he put both guys on the floor for the majority of the game. I don't understand why, even in a game, the last 2 nights now, I think Hartenstein has started, but he hasn't played that much. I think he started last game, but played in only like 18 minutes, and he started tonight, but played in only 21 minutes. So, I mean, just looking at Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins both played more minutes than Hartenstein off the bench tonight. So I'm baffled by the management of him, by the minutes that he's getting, or I should say lack thereof. So I'm with you, Will. I am puzzled. Lester is in. Lester's banana is in for the first time tonight. Probably some banana proposition for me, Gary. Go ahead.
After the finals, Skap eats banana regardless who wins. Go down to the next one. We'll put him back to back. He's got okay. And then he says all roads lead to Skap eating a banana. I mean, you've already done it, so I don't know how exciting it would be for a second time.
I will eat another banana for you, Lester, at the end of the series, but I will not eat it seductively like you were requesting if the Pacers would have won. Now I may get a banana disguise for you as well, and wear my banana disguise while I eat a banana for you. I will make some kind of a banana eating session happen for you because you've just been so tenacious with your banana requests. So and very generous with your ongoing support of the Skap Live After Dark Lounge. So I will at the end of the finals make some banana centric thing happen for you. You have my word. Okay, we've got our man Dylan in still with the other handle, the model body fit with his tanned up, oiled, flexing self and his little Speedo on there. Dylan, welcome in. What's up, brah? Gary, what does Dylan have for us tonight?
Damn it, Skap. The fix is in OKC in 6, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's again a lot of this going on. A lot of people thinking the fix is in for Oklahoma City. I don't see why. I don't know why that would be the case. I don't know. Again, I get Gary what you're saying. Maybe just to benefit SGA and help pull some kind of, I don't know, but increase his visibility or his cachet with the general public. I don't know. But I'm not seeing necessarily a game or a series that looks fixed to me. I'm just seeing a series of a much better team playing a far inferior team that is just kind of the inferior lesser team, just seems to care more and seems to play harder and want it worse than this juggernaut team. And I don't know why. I can't make it make sense. But when the better team actually feels like, they get motivated to actually want to play an entire quarter or an entire game, it looks like they are just that, the better team. I think Indiana in a couple games, in a couple spots this series has not helped themselves much with all the turnovers. Tonight was simply a case. Look, I didn't see any rigging or anything. I saw an Indiana team that turned it over way too many times, 22. I saw an Indiana team whose best player, Tyrese Halliburton, played way too small. 4 points on 0 shot makes from the field. And I saw a Thunder team stacked, as I've been saying, with a number 2 option that dropped 40 on them. So, I mean, add all those things up. I don't think that's necessarily a fix. I think it's just inevitability, unfortunately, Dylan. I'm rooting for the Pacers along with all you guys. It ain't going to happen. But next thing we will hear from Dylan again here. He'll be right back in right after this quick word from Will N, who's back in for another super chat to us here. So Will N, thank you very much. Gary, what's this next one from Will say?
Anybody else watch the Lance Stevenson versus Michael Beasley one-on-one? LOL.
I did not. I do not know. I did not know that was going on. I did not see that. I'll have to go back and look at that. Michael Beasley allegedly is quite a one-on-one player. He apparently beat LeBron routinely in practice, if you believe those stories from various teammates. Lance Stevenson, of course, famously blew in LeBron's ear when he was on a member of the Indiana Pacers with Paul George, if you remember, way back when, those Miami Pacers series back in like the 2011-ish range, 2012 range, where LeBron was routinely getting whatever. It was kind of like a Dennis Rodman type thing that Lance Stevenson was trying to do to get LeBron off his game. Anyway, one of the games, Lance Stevenson was blowing in LeBron's ear. And honestly, if you look at the footage of that, LeBron looked like he enjoyed it a little too much for me. I'm just saying. But no, Will, and I did not get a look at that. So I'm going to have to go find this one-on-one footage sometime when I jump off this live stream. But next thing we've got model body fit again, as I said. What's Dylan got for us this time, Gary?
Gary Skap. I'm a Spurs fan. I don't want KD.
Yeah, I guess, Gary, I'll turn this over to you, actually. What do you say? It seemed like you were not that opposed to it earlier, but like, since you are a Spurs fan, Gary, would you endorse like a KD move, or do you just want no parts of it?
I'm not against it. I'm okay either way because I really think we're in a good position. We can take the 14th pick, and I'm okay with that because it seems to be a pretty strong draft. So I'm thinking we may end up getting a good pick at 14. But then again, if we gave that up, it's not going to break us. And I think the main benefit of having KD would be, I think he really wants to mentor Wembanyama. He loves Wemby, and Wemby loves him. So I think they want to play together. And I think KD wants to try to teach Wembanyama and help Wembanyama transition, which is why it was good we got CP3, because CP3 was trying to mentor Wemby as well. A lot of players love Wemby and just want to play with him. So I could see that being a benefit. But if not, I mean, it's not a big deal. Like I said, I just don't want to give up a lot of draft capital, and I definitely don't want to give up Stephon Castle because he's going to be this is what people don't understand. They're saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Just trade him away if you get Giannis or whatever. What they're not taking into account, Castle is going to be one of those rare two-way players. He's going to be a really good defensive player as well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say Wembanyama, every year Wembanyama is healthy from here on out, is probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And Castle, I think, will also be someone who's going to be in the running to win Defensive Player of the Year. He'll probably never win it because of Wemby, but he'll be one of those candidates who's in the running almost every year. And when you have them together, that really anchors your defense. That's why I'm so opposed to just trading away the future for like maybe 2 to 3 really good years with Giannis. I'd love for OKC to get Giannis if it meant they had to trade away all their draft capital. The OKC Thunder's draft capital is really what scares me, because they can set themselves up right now, keep their core, trade those picks to other teams for like 2030, 2031 picks. When this batch here starts to age, then you start drafting young guys to complement them and you reload the dynasty. That's what a really brilliant GM will do. I would love if Giannis went there. Let OKC, they're probably going to win a championship without him. So it'd be like you're beating a dead horse. I would love.
That's why they won't do it, though. They'll never make the move.
Right.
To win. I think the only pushback I would give on the Wemby, he'll win like 4 Defensive Player of the Years. I think then the fatigue will settle in and they'll start trying to give it to other people. But they'll give him 4 or 5 probably. Defensive Player of the Years, I mean.
Right. Well, if somebody else comes close, if no one else comes close, they'll have no choice. But I mean, like in 46 games, he had 30 more blocks than the other guy that played like 80 games. I mean, if he's got like so many more blocks and so many more steals and everything else, then they may have no choice. Whereas at least this year with SGA, they kind of painted a story, painted a narrative that he should have got it over Jokic. Even though technically Jokic should have gotten it.
So Gary, I think now is a good time to bring this next super chat in from Vacation Wealth Partners, who is, of course, one of our top sponsors here in the lounge. So welcome back into you, Vacation Wealth Partners. And this is, it is the next super chat, but it also is perfectly lined up with what we were just talking about from Dylan's question above, which is, where do we think the best fit? So we were just talking about his fit with the Spurs. Gary, it sounds like you think that Durant would align well with the San Antonio Spurs,
right?
In the short term. Do you think it would be like the best possible fit for him?
I'd say so, that or possibly Minnesota if he wants to win.
Right.
The thing is, the Spurs, to be honest with you, there is parity right now. OKC is the next big thing, but they are beatable. I think they've proven that. I mean, the Pacers have proven that they are beatable, even though I don't think, obviously, the Pacers are going to do it. But if you had De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, KD, if he's healthy in the playoffs, even though he's older, if he's playing just at like 75 to 80% of what he used to be, along with an emerging Wemby, they could win it next year. Even if they may lose at OKC, but OKC is beatable. We just don't really know how it's going to look. The Spurs are building and they're experimenting.
I mean, I think personally, I went off last time a little bit on Durant and the premise of him going to the last show we did, the last live.
Right.
I went off on the premise of the idea of him going to Minnesota. I talked about it at the beginning of this show too, about how I don't want him to go to Minnesota. With that said, I think he fits the best in Minnesota. I think he would have to do basically nothing but score. The team around him can pick up manage the defense without him. They could hide him on defense. He just literally has to score, and he doesn't even have to shoulder the brunt of the scoring load because they've got Anthony Edwards, and Jay McDaniels is shown to be an up and coming player. And one of the reasons why the talks have been stalling out, from what I understand, between Minnesota and the Suns is because they Minnesota has made McDaniels untouchable. So if you retain him, you've got Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant. I think their bench is going to be kind of on the come up now this year too, as well. Minnesota, I think they have some young assets there that are going to age well into this season. I think, to me, if Durant got on to Minnesota, they might be the closest position team to winning a championship next year, other than Oklahoma City. I just don't want to see it because I think it's too easy for him to go there. So, like, I would prefer to see him on the Spurs or the Rockets or Miami. Vacation Wealth Partners mentions Miami. Just to read the full one. Vacation Wealth Partner says, I don't see him winning a title in any of the places mentioned. So as a Durant fan, I'd probably like to see him go to Miami and just stat pad in a weak Eastern Conference. So yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think the only sure, and it's not even a sure thing, but I think the closest thing KD gets to being like championship viable next year would be Minnesota, which is why I think that's probably the best fit. Other than that, I think he gets closer if he goes to Houston or San Antonio. He's much closer to a championship than he is in Phoenix. Hell, if he can get, I don't want it as a Nuggets fan, as a Jokic fan, I don't want it. But if he gets to the Nuggets somehow, that would make him obviously much closer to a championship as well. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool. I don't know. I didn't check this to see if did not confirm if this was real or not, but I saw some tweet or something, some post somewhere that Miami was the betting favorites for Russell Westbrook at this point. So it would be funny, I think, if Durant ended up on Miami with Russ. If there was a Russ Durant reunion in South Beach, that would kind of be ironic to me. But we shall see. Actually, Vacation Wealth Partners, let's just keep you right here, because Vacation Wealth Partners is back on the very next one with a secondary comment. So let's stay right here with Vacation Wealth Partners and on the Durant topic. Go ahead, Gary, and read this one.
To me, Durant is the player whose legacy has been damaged second most by the LeBron-run media, only behind the great Kobe Bryant.
Well, yeah, Gary obviously makes a similar point in his recent video that he posted in the chat a bit ago, and he'll probably give it one more post before the end of the show. So yeah, he made a similar type case in that video and an argument. And quite frankly, I never even really disclosed this to Gary, really. But there is, I'm back. So back before I had a YouTube channel and back before there even was Twitter, really, I guess it was a thing, but really back when, because I talk about how old I am, back when I was a young buck and I was fighting my fights on social media, Facebook was still the big thing, right? Because I'm old. So like, I go back to when Facebook was like the top dog on the block, and I would make, before I had the Skap Attack channel, I would just go on these written rants. I would write these paragraphs and paragraphs of things on my Facebook and try to ensnare people into arguing and debating me there. And now basically that was the precursor. Now those long paragraph things became like my monologues or my voiceovers for my YouTube channel when I started doing Skap Attack. But way back when I posted something and I speculated that KD actually is on the footing to become better than LeBron. Like if KD would just win a commensurate amount of championships, I think that at the end of the day, KD would have a really viable and a good chance in being remembered as better than LeBron. And I made that speculation right around the time they lost in the finals to the Heat. But I think despite it was only a 5-game series, that Thunder Heat series in 2012, I thought that the Thunder kind of outplayed them for large stretches of the series. I thought Durant was the best player on the floor, not LeBron. I thought Russ was the next best player on the floor, not Dwayne Wade. So I thought, if this young team of like these two dudes are like 23, if they just stay together, like chances are they're going to win 4 or 5 championships. And then Durant's the one that's going to have the more of the scoring titles. He's the one that's going to look like more of an impressive individual player with a true dynasty that he home grew and like built in his own small market team that drafted him. Whereas LeBron had to float all around God's creation to get his championships. Of course, it didn't end up going that way, and Durant left as well. But I still do think that if Durant, had Durant won 2 more somewhere along the way, like if Kyrie and James Harden don't both get hurt that year in with the Nets, likely Durant has 3 there. And had Durant not obviously ruptured his Achilles, he probably would have had a 4th one there. So that I'd say if he has the same amount of rings, you can easily make a case he's better than LeBron at that point. But you're right, Vacation Wealth Partners, to your point, and probably not even the point Gary's making, because he is making more of a commentary on early Durant, the way early Durant was dealt with, the way that he was officiated early on in his career, specifically when he was playing LeBron. But for whatever reason, to me, I think there's more of a story to be told even about the way Durant is dealt and the way those rings are treated that he does have, the 2 that he does have, because both Steph Curry and LeBron, well, they both won chintzy super team rings, but nobody discredits either of them. Like LeBron still gets to be LeBron and still in the GOAT conversation, despite the fact all 4 of his were mercenary type super team rings. Steph Curry, 2 of his 4 were the same way. And Kevin Durant was the better player on the 2 of the 2 rings that Curry got that way. And yet somehow people talk about Curry like all of his 4 rings count, yet Durant is the only one that is routinely, like I kind of do disparage KD and talk shit on him from time to time, but that's just in me keeping with consistency and treating Steph Curry and LeBron James the same way. What annoys me so much is that there were people that will talk glowingly and favorably about Steph Curry and LeBron James and all of the championships they have, and then treat Kevin Durant like he's some piece of shit that stole both of his championships. Like, you can't have it both ways. So I do agree. There is a lot of inconsistency with the way Kevin Durant is treated overall as an all-time great player in terms of this era, and really in comparison to Steph Curry and LeBron. I think the 3 of them basically stacked right up next to each other, like I said earlier, and you can essentially rotate them and order them in whatever ordering you want to put them. And I think you can make a case for either one of them to be any one to be over the other 2. So I mean, I'm kind of with you, Vacation Wealth Partners, and I would like to see KD get another ring here in his twilight, but not if it's with Minnesota. I'll be rooting for KD wherever he goes next year, as long as it's not with the Timberwolves. So I
don't think that it's that big a deal if he goes to Minnesota. I honestly don't. Like, if they won it, I don't think they would win it. But even if they did, I wouldn't be like, wow, that was a cheap ring, because Minnesota, they got first of all, they got a 1st round bye drawing the Lakers. Easiest 1st round. I'm kind of trolling, but they got to avoid Steph Curry in the 2nd round, and then they just got the brakes beat off of them by OKC. They're not that good. They're very well balanced. So a piece like Durant would be like the logical piece to add and see what would happen. But I think if he went to I honestly think if he went to San Antonio would be way better than Minnesota is now. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Spurs fan, but think about it. If you have Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Castle, and Durant, I'm sorry, but to me, that's better than Minnesota.
Here's the thing, Gary. I think Minnesota, I'm not being inconsistent with saying this. You could go back and find videos over the last month. To me, Minnesota was the 3rd best team in the NBA this year, in my opinion. When the playoffs began, I would have ranked number 1 in the NBA to me was Oklahoma City, then Boston, then Minnesota. I've been saying that from the beginning of the postseason run. I really just believe that. And I now, with the fact that Boston is going to be without Tatum next year, and the fact that they're probably going to dump some salary and shed at least one of their big five rotation. So they're going to be without that person and Tatum. I said, and in my outro video about the Timberwolves, basically I said they are essentially the second best team in the NBA right now, behind only the Thunder. That's just the way I view them. Like I watch them, and they're to me the only team realistically that has the actual talent and the dogs and the whole team makeup to be able to realistically compete with Oklahoma City. And you say they got their break speed off. Look, they are a low character team. They have low character stars. They have a low character leader in Anthony Edwards, and they just quit in several of those games against the Thunder, in my opinion. So yes, they got blown to pieces in basically every game they lost. Gary, they got blown to pieces. They lost by like whatever 25 or something in the first game, 15 in the second game, and then in game 5. In the elimination game, yeah, they lost by 30 again because they just have low character and they just quit. But in the 2 games that they really competed and showed up and went toe-to-toe against Oklahoma City, they obliterated the Thunder by 40. They beat the Thunder by 40, Gary. I've never seen a team that could. And then in the very next game, they lost by 2, 128 to 126. Had they won that game, then they would have went 7. If it was 2-2, they would have went 7. But they lost. They lost a very tight, hard-fought game by 2 points. And then, like the low-character team they are, they just quit. But because they have no character, that doesn't mean that they don't have talent. To me,
I didn't say they don't have talent. I do think they're pretty good. But to your point, you're saying that in your opinion, they're second, third best team in the league, right? But they're just behind OKC. So if they were to play OKC, if they were to run it back next year, I mean, what % chance do you give them of beating OKC in the Western Conference Finals if they met up next year with these teams, assuming they stay the same? You give them basically 0% chance to beat OKC in the Western Conference next year.
I don't think it would be 0. No, I'd give them like a 25% chance.
Okay, well, I wouldn't even give them that. But what I'm saying is that would make sense for them to get Durant to try to increase their chances. And I still don't even think that would work. But I'm saying they've got to try something, and they're going to have to give up something as well. They're not going to get – this isn't a free agent signing. They're going to have to trade something away. So part of it might even have to give up like Julius Randle possibly.
Well, I don't think they would do that. They're not going to do that. I would think just looking at their roster, I would think what they want to get rid of, Gary, is they obviously want to shed the salary of Rudy Gobert. Like they want to get rid of Rudy Gobert, get that salary off, have him be the main piece that goes back, which why the hell would the Suns want to do that? Like that's probably what they're stuck on right now. Naz Reid's they're going to need to attend to his contract. I think he's a player option this year. If I were Naz Reid, I would decline that. It seems like a lot less than what he can make on the open market, what he's contracted for next year. I would think, to me, Anthony Edwards and Jay McDaniel and Julius Randle are off limits. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's what's holding things up realistically, because why in the world would the Suns help Minnesota out in that degree by taking Gobert off the books and sending back Durant? I think if that is what happens, then I do think Minnesota's probably, I can't say they're the odds-on favorite, but to me, they're very, very close.
You think Durant's that good? I don't think he's that good this late in his career. I mean, he is good, but I don't think he's that much.
Put him on the second best team in the NBA. Yes, if you put him on the second best team in the NBA, yes, I think he's that much of a difference maker. I mean, look, he played in only 50-some games this year. He's hurt a lot, but he 27, 7-7 still. Gary, like he's still the same guy. Like 27, 7-7 on like 50, 40, and 90 or some shit probably again. Let me get it up exactly just to make sure. This year he was 27 points per game, 6 rebounds. Okay, only 4 assists, and he shot from the field.
I got another point.
53% from the field. 43% from the three-point line and 84% from the free throw line. I mean, he's just one of the most efficient scorers the world has ever seen. Yes,
Right.
even at this age. But yes, he played 62 games, so he missed 20 games this year.
But
The big story is in his health and his availability, in my estimation.
you would agree with me, KD has heart, right? He's an assassin. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just went on a small soliloquy about how efficient he is, but yet now we know this couldn't happen, but hypothetically, you were saying you would not like for Denver to swap Michael Porter for Durant because you said it wouldn't matter. So you're telling me that Jokic and Durant, the guy you just praised, would not be good together. But yet you think he's gonna make Minnesota the favorite, but if he goes to Denver, no, it's not a good deal. I think that's insane. The only problem
here's why, Gary.
Consistency. That's the only problem.
This is why, Gary, because Denver's big problem is depth and defense, period. They don't need a frontline guy like Durant. They need depth and defense. Minnesota has depth and defense. They need one more scorer. They need one more top-line guy. So Durant fits the bill for what Minnesota needs. He doesn't fit the bill for what Denver needs. Denver needs more than one guy off the bench. Now they don't even have one guy. They lost Russell Westbrook.
They've got Christian Braun.
He's a starter.
They fluctuate. He comes off the bench some games. There is a Peyton Watson and Julian Strother. Maybe he'll turn up. But this is what I'm getting at. If Denver's only problem is one thing: inconsistency from Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. If those guys are consistent, they can beat anybody, including OKC. If they're even with a shallow bench, if their shooters are consistent, that's been their downfall, is the inconsistency of Murray and Porter, especially Porter.
Two things. Christian Braun played in 79 games this season. He started 77 of them. So he is
okay, he just got promoted because I remember he used to come off the bench.
Secondly, Nikola Jokic, in his exit interviews or whatever, in his last presser, said the biggest thing they need to address in the offseason is they need depth. He said when you look, and he named Minnesota, Indiana, and Oklahoma City, and he said when you look at the teams that are having success right now, it's the teams that are deep and that could go 8-9 guys deep at you. Looking at the bench this year, Gary, in the regular season, Russell Westbrook led the way off the bench, 13 points per game off the bench. The next two guys really are Peyton Watson and Julian Strother. So whatever you think they could maybe become, who knows? But in the playoffs, when, as we know, rotations are limited, Russell Westbrook averaged 11 points per game off the bench for them in the playoffs. Again, he's probably gone now, and there's no way to replace him more than likely because they have no money at all. Literally, I don't even think they have a mid-level exception because of their placement near to the second apron. So in the postseason, their second leading bench player, Gary, after Russell Westbrook, who averaged 11, was Peyton Watson, 4.5 points per game. Julian Strother then checking in next, 4.2 points per game.
He's learning, though. He's getting better.
Then Hunter Tyson with 3 points per game.
He's young too. They have some prospects.
Then Jalen Pickett at 1.6 points per game. So Gary, my point is, like, Nikola Jokic to me, you want to know, Nikola Jokic to me is Tom Brady. Would it look real cool if Tom Brady, like when Tom Brady got Randy Moss, did it look awesome? Sure. But did Tom Brady need that? No, because he could win Super Bowls with like Julian Edelman as his number one wide receiver. He could, and he did, because he makes anybody look good. Like Wes Welker looked like an NFL All-Pro multiple years because that guy sailed under the lucky star of having Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Those two dudes don't need wide receivers. They don't need the flashy skill position players. Give Tom Brady a freaking line and a defense, and he's winning the Super Bowl every year. I could play wide receiver for him, and win a Super Bowl as a starting wide receiver with Tom Brady if you gave Tom Brady a line and a defense. He didn't really even need the defense. Just give him the line. For Nikola Jokic, same deal. Give Nikola Jokic any scrubs offensively. He'll make them look great. He's made Jamal Murray look great and Michael Porter Jr. look great. That's why they're in the mess that they're in. The Nuggets are, and they're making the salaries that they are because Jokic made them look so much better offensively. Jokic needs defenders and depth. He just needs like 7 or 8 guys that literally just are long, rangy, and could shoot threes. That's it. That's all he needs. He does not need a 37-year-old guy in Durant who's going to miss, because here's another thing that we're not factoring in, Gary. Jamal Murray's going to miss 20 games every year. So he does not need Kevin Durant, who's going to miss another 20 games every year and then not play any defense. And still, they're going to have nobody coming off the bench. So it's still going to be Jokic trying to play 45 minutes in pivotal playoff games and gassing out by game 6 or 7. So that's why I said that Durant doesn't really help Nikola Jokic. And I think that the only chip they have, Gary, the only thing that they got is Michael Porter Jr. They got no money. They can't move Murray. Nobody else is really tradable. Aaron Gordon's their only real good player, so they're not going to trade him. Michael Porter Jr. is the only one that makes sense. And rather than trying to turn him into Kevin Durant, I just assume rather turn him into 2 young defensive players that give them like 2 positions that they could rely on off the bench, maybe. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But for Minnesota, though, to me, Durant would make all the difference in the world. I think they would be right there with a healthy Durant against Oklahoma City next year. But
yeah,
it sounds like that's not going to happen because the Suns aren't stupid and they're not going to take Rudy Gobert and nothing else basically back in the trade. So, and I don't blame them for that.
Right.
Okay, next we've got, Dylan is back in. I think, is he talking about KD? We're on a KD swing here. Is this in reference still? We're talking about KD that he no longer contributes to winning ball.
I'm not quite sure, but he says he no longer contributes to winning basketball. Not sure who you're referring to. Let's see, I'm scrolling up to see.
Yeah, I'm going back up myself here.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about Durant.
I don't know. I think Durant can still contribute in winning ways. On a number of different, I think he'll make every team better. Like, sure, Gary, like if he goes to Denver, yeah, they'll be better offensively. But like, see, this is my point. They will be better offensively. But they were number 2 net rated offense all year long until the last like 2 weeks of the year. They played like total shit. They fired their head coach. Nikola Jokic missed like 4 or 5 games in that span too. Jamal Murray missed like 6 or 7 games. They fired the general manager as well. And in that little like last 10 game hiccup where they ended the year like 4-6, they dropped from 2 to 3 in net rating offense. But for the 90% of the regular season last year, they were the number 2 rated net offense already. Like with these scrubs, because Nikola Jokic is just that damn good. He's Tom Brady. He makes these scrubs look that good offensively, but he's not that good defensively. So he's not raising anyone's floor on defense, and they all suck, even worse than him. People who crush Jokic defensively, he's like one of the best, if not the best defenders on that team. So everybody else stinks on defense too. He needs that. He doesn't need Durant. He doesn't need another great offensive player. He needs some defensive dogs to go to work for him, and they definitely need better defenders on the perimeter. So that's, I think, what they need. But yes, Durant, if they got Durant and he played 60 games, sure, they would look even better offensively. They would go from the number 3 net rated offense probably to the number 1 net rated offense. And in the playoffs, sure, they would look good for some of the games. And then in other games, like the Thunder have enough defense to throw at just Durant and Jokic. And when you're relying on a 37-year-old Durant to play 41 minutes and Jokic is playing like 45 minutes, and your bench play, you're getting 7-8 points total off your bench combined, it's just not going to go well again. Like I feel like they need to go in a different direction than offense, but that's just me. That's why. And look, I don't even have to worry about it because the Nuggets don't have enough to even get in the mix to get in the conversation for a Durant trade. And even if they did, they don't even have a general manager right now to execute it. So what are we even talking about here with Durant to the Thunder or to the Nuggets? All right, next in is Xavier DeGod. Welcome into you. I believe this is Xavier's first, probably of a couple, I'm sure, hypothetical things coming down the. Yes, I do see a couple more from Xavier coming, but let's go ahead and start with this first one. Gary, what's this one from Xavier say?
If the 2010 Lakers face the 2011 Heat or 2013 Lakers face the 2013 Heat, who would Kobe guard, Wade or LeBron? And would Pau Gasol guard LeBron or Bosh?
Well, let's just take the 2010 Lakers because that's their last, they're a championship caliber team, and the 2011 Heat were like in the finals or whatever the year after. I'd say probably Kobe. I'd say he would go back and forth between Wade and LeBron. He would probably take the challenge to play LeBron. I'm sure if LeBron was going off, but quite frankly, Dwayne Wade was the better player on that 2011 finals. So probably LeBron or Kobe would end up playing Wade. And then if we're just going to the 2009-10 Lakers, the championship run, I think probably Ron Artest, who was on that team, would probably get more reps on LeBron. Plus, Artest was just bigger, had more size, height, weight to offset LeBron, who is a number of inches bigger and probably 40 pounds heavier than Kobe. So I think Kobe would probably spend the lion's share of the time playing Dwayne Wade, actually. And Pau Gasol would definitively not be on LeBron. He would be on Bosh. There's no way Gasol had the quickness or lateral speed to stay with LeBron on the perimeter. So again, I think if we're taking the Lakers championship team that won that 5th title against the Celtics that had Ron Artest, I think Artest is the guy that matches LeBron. Kobe's got Wade, and then of course Pau Gasol would play Bosh. But the good Xavier is good for a number of hypothetical questions, and there are more probably to come. Here's another one from DSP Historical Society. What's this one say, Gary?
High skip attack Bayless. Refs for the win.
I don't know. I don't know why. I get likened to Skip a lot because of my LeBron. Basically, Skip and I are the only people that were anti-LeBron from the very beginning. So I don't necessarily push back too much on those Skip comparisons. But I don't know in context of how I'm talking about this series why I'm garnering these comps. DSP Historical Society, is he talking favorably about the Thunder too or something? I don't know. I've lost track of Skip and what he's doing in his career at this point. Next in, we've got Sid Morali. What's up, Sid? Welcome in. Is that a Harry Potter avatar you got there? Pretty neat little avatar you have there, Sid. And thank you for coming in and for supporting us here in the lounge. Gary, what does Sid have for us tonight?
Is OKC a super team or just the most talented?
Yeah, I wouldn't designate them as a super team, because to me, a super team is one that's constructed inorganically, that forces together like 3 perennial all-star caliber and Hall of Fame level players on one team inorganically. The Thunder did not do that. So the results will be super team like. They are going to be dynastic and excellent and dominant in my estimation, but they did not do it inorganically. They did it by the book the right way. They just built from the ground roots up. They have the most talented general manager maybe in NBA history, and he just did everything the right way in the rebuild and moving on, turning the page from the Durant, Westbrook, Harden team. He's just built everything, made every right decision. All roads have led here for them to where they now are going to win 3 or 4 championships probably in the next 5 or 6 years. So not a super team though, but certainly they will be dynastic. DSP Historical Society, and yet again, welcome back in yet again, DSP Historical Society. Many thanks for your ongoing support and generosity here of us in the lounge. I see another one coming down the pike here from you. But Gary, what's this most recent one say?
Shout out Dirt the Jerk Nowitzki. Much Gary Hearts.
So, yeah, he's
Okay.
just giving you a shout out, Gary. He just likes what you're doing here. He just wants to give you the recognition and the thanks. And then I guess I don't know to Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know why it's shout out to Dirk the Jerk Nowitzki. Was Dirk Nowitzki a jerk? I don't know. I really like Dirk Nowitzki. I think he's an all-time great player, probably an undervalued player. I think he's not quite at Nikola Jokic's level, but he was a very great player. I think he would have been recognized as a greater player had he won more championships, but he just did not have, it wasn't for lack of trying by the Mavericks, but they just could never surround him with the requisite amount of talent or supporting cast that he needed to compete for multiple championships. I don't think. He did end up getting one of the best, arguably the best championships ever, though, in 2011, one of the great runs of all time. He's a lot better than people want to give him credit for being. I think I'm going to look it up right now, but I think I want to say he's off the top of my head. I'm going to say he's sixth or seventh all time in NBA scoring, but I'm just going to look it up now real quick.
Yeah.
And see, I want to say sixth, but that seems even too good. Like it seems too high. He's sixth. Dirk Nowitzki is sixth all time in NBA history in scoring. How about that? LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Dirk Nowitzki. That's it. That's the list. Will Chamberlain and Kevin Durant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Carmelo Anthony below Dirk to round out the top 10. So KD's actually on the come up. He is at 30,000. We've talked a lot about Kevin Durant tonight, so it bears mentioning. He's eighth all time in leading scoring right now, 30,571 career points for him. And in the last couple seasons, let's see what he scored totals wise. This season he scored 1,000. He scored 1,600 points. So, and it looks like in the last, since his Achilles rupture, 1,600, 1,300, 1,100, 200, 2,000, and then 1,600 points. So it's pretty good money you can place that he's going to score at least 1,000 points this year, at least 1,000, which would get him to 31,571, which would actually move him up to sixth. So Durant would move past Will Chamberlain, past Dirk Nowitzki this season, and be only about like 1,500 points behind Michael Jordan at that point. So that's what kind of a scorer Kevin Durant's been, even though he's missed a large portion of his career due to injury. So pretty impressive there. But yes, just to shout out Dirk Nowitzki at right now, before Durant might potentially pass him up, Dirk Nowitzki, the sixth all-time leading scorer in NBA history. I bet a lot of people wouldn't think that.
Real quick, Dirk, his biggest problem is the era he played running into Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. That's why he wasn't more successful. But I'll tell you, just for you youngins, if Dirk was playing in today's era, Skap, I think he'd be like MVP every year. Like, who would stop him right now? This era would be perfect for Dirk. Like, there's no Kobe, there's no Duncan stopping him. And the three-pointers right up his alley, he'd be doing it even more. Defense is looser than it used to be. Could you imagine what he would do in this era?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Dirk fan. Like I said, I think he's really underrated, and I think he's an often forgotten guy. I'm just looking at some of the things. 14-time NBA All-Star. Obviously, he won the one MVP, the one championship, and a Finals MVP. He's only got 4 All-NBA first teams because, like Gary alluded to, he played not only against in a time where it was the All-NBA teams were positional back then. So you could only really have one power forward at the first team spot. And he played in a time where not just Duncan, but it was Garnett too. So you had Garnett, Duncan, and Dirk competing for like first team All-NBA spots there. So he only had 4 first teams, but he had overall 12 All-NBA selections, 4 first team, 5 second, and 3 thirds. And like I said, 6th all-time leading scorer in NBA history, and just a magnificent player. He played till he was about 40 years old, kind of depreciated his scoring output a bit. But even still, for his career, a 21-year career, all in one jersey, mind you. 21 points and 8 rebounds a game. And really in his prime, where he was like finishing like top 10 in MVP, top 5 in MVP every year, really. If you want to look at his prime from age 24 till like 33, in that chunk of like 10 years, 24 points per game, 9 rebounds a night. 24 and 9 for Dirk a night for basically a decade straight, in the teeth of an era where scoring was in the mid 90s on average in the NBA. So really, really undervalued and an underappreciated player overall, in my estimation. So yeah, DSP, Historical Society, shout out to Dirk is right. I don't think this guy is given enough credit. Marco, my Serbian brother, is in next. What's up, Marco? Welcome into you for tonight. Ooh, do I see a movie question here from my man Marco? Go ahead and read this one, Gary.
Great to have you back, guys. I get triggered when people say that Jokic has enough help, Jamal Murray. Top movies of John Travolta, Bruce Willis, and Eddie Murphy.
Wow. Well, yes, I too, Marco, get triggered when I see that Jokic has enough help, because we've been talking a lot tonight about Jalen Williams, who in an NBA Finals game drops 40 points, like 5 rebounds, 4 assists on 14 of 25 shooting. And this year, Jalen Williams, who turned 24 in April, we went over this. His birthday is 4/14. So he's 2 months into his 24th year birthday here. So about a week before the playoffs began, Jalen Williams was 23 years old. And this season, Jalen Williams did 3 things that Jamal Murray hasn't done in like 8 or 9 years in the NBA. He was designated an All-NBA performer, an All-NBA defensive performer, and he made an All-Star team. All 3 things 1 year at the age of 23 that Jamal Murray hasn't done in his entire 8 or 9 year NBA career as Jokic's second option. So yes, I too, Marco, get triggered when I hear, like, please, let's swap. I'll take Jalen Williams in place of Jamal Murray. Can we make that swap, that head-to-head swap just happen right here, right now? I take that. But yes, to your point, though, it's ridiculous. Jokic is now trending. I just got done talking about Dirk Nowitzki. I think Jokic is now, again, above Dirk even, in a tier above Dirk for sure. But I think he's trending in that same pathway as Nowitzki, is just being an undervalued player, an underrated player, because he didn't win enough. But it ain't his fault. It's his organization's fault. Wow. Top movies from Travolta, Bruce Willis, and Eddie Murphy. Man, that's a loaded question. I'll tell you this. I am a humongous Eddie Murphy fan. He's one of my favorites, especially like 1980s Eddie Murphy. I shouldn't say especially, basically only 1980s Eddie Murphy. I feel like once we entered like the mid 90s, he kind of jumped the shark. But 80s Eddie Murphy was phenomenal. One of the great comedic actors ever. And I loved his action comedies. So to answer the Eddie Murphy leg of it, Beverly Hills Cops, I love the whole trilogy. I know they came out with the 4th one recently, which was mediocre. But the whole trilogy, I love. The first one in particular was fantastic. I thought one of my 2 favorite comedies, I think, ever would be Coming to America and Caddyshack. So I'd have to throw Coming to America in as one of his best movies. Trading Places, I also love that one with Dan Aykroyd. But yeah, I'd say probably if I just had to name 2, Coming to America and probably Beverly Hills Cops, though. I really like those 48-hour movies too. Eddie Murphy was just fantastic. Again, I think in the 80s, his stand-up comedy, I love stand-up comedy, but it's very hard to do it well. I think I'm very critical of stand-up comedians. Eddie Murphy, for my money, is maybe the best one ever. So there is my Eddie answer. Travolta and Bruce Willis. Interesting. Well, Bruce
Same
Willis,
movie, Pulp Fiction.
fair. And that Pulp Fiction, I'm actually not a big Tarantino fan, but I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I love Pulp Fiction. So I love those 2. I would say for me, for whenever I think Bruce Willis, I will always think the first Die Hard. Like, I just love, I know it's a stereotypical answer, but even on these live streams, I say, welcome to the party, pal, from time to time. That is, of course, a line from the first Die Hard film. I love that movie. I love the whole whatever 5 movie franchise is okay, but the first one in particular was fantastic. Travolta, I've never really been a huge Travolta fan, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, I've seen most of his catalog. I'm trying to think. I'm not overly in love with any of them. I really like, because of my age, moderator Gary, which I'm a couple years younger than you, the mid 90s. I have the nostalgia goggles built up for the mid 90s movies. We talked about this last time. I really liked the Nicolas Cage films, The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. So because just for my nostalgia, I really loved the movie Face Off when I was little. It's such a terrible movie. It's such a terrible movie if you really think about it. Like the premise of the movie, it's so bad, but like it's just quintessential 90s. It really reminds me of my childhood. And I watched the movie dozens of times. I know every line in it. I would probably have to say that the Nick Cage, John Travolta film Face Off might potentially be my favorite Travolta movie. But again, I'm not a humongous fan of Travolta. For sure, Pulp Fiction's a better movie. For sure it is. And I would say that that movie would be in the mix as well.
Yeah. Quick shout out to The Punisher. Travolta had a supporting role, but I love that one with Thomas Jane. I wasn't expecting that to be so good. I think that came out 2004. And my favorite Eddie Murphy movie will probably actually be 48 Hours, the original. I just thought that was really, really well done. Bruce Willis, I think it would be Pulp Fiction. And a shout out, honorable mention. I know it doesn't get a lot of love, but I really like The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. I saw that in the theater when I was young. So I like that as well. So, yeah.
Also a good flick. Yeah, I like that. I'd say of those 3 guys listed, Travolta's probably like my lead. Like I'm not like a big, I really do like Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy, not like a huge Travolta fan. But great question, Marco. I always love chatting movies. Oh boy, we've next got Bob M in. Welcome in, Bob, to you. And wow, he's really evoking a name that I have very little I think very little of from the NFL with Halliburton's performance tonight. Go ahead, Gary. What's he got for us?
Lamar Jackson level choke job by Halliburton.
Again, like Halliburton was 3rd team All NBA this year.
He's not MVP like Lamar Jackson.
Like Lamar Jackson is 2-time league MVP. He was a league MVP at home as a favorite in the playoffs, barfing all over himself. So I just can't go to the levels that you guys are trying to compare Halliburton to tonight. Like, no, it's not LeBron 2011. LeBron had 8 points as a back-to-back league MVP, as maybe the best or second best player in the world in a finals game there. Like that, this isn't the same. Same with Lamar Jackson's a 2-time league MVP. Like you just can't compare a 3rd team All NBA player to that. I mean, and again, like now you guys are like, I came on here strongly condemning the prospect of giving this guy an out with a leg injury, but he might be a little banged up, and he's not like he's on these guys' level that you're trying to reach to put him on. And the Pacers are significant. Look, they were 10-point underdogs tonight. You know, they lost by 11. Like, it just is what it is. I've been trying to tell you, Gary and I both, that they're just outmatched. Like, I don't know. Yes, again, unacceptable. 4 points on no shot makes from the field, unacceptable. But it's not reaching these levels that you guys are trying to compare it to, in my estimation. Okay, we've got Jose back in tonight. Many thanks, Jose, for your generous contribution here to us in the lounge. I appreciate you. Gary, what does Jose have for us tonight?
The refs are who we thought they were. They are who we thought we were. If you want to crown their asses, crown them. But they are who we thought they were. Just kidding. Shout out, rest in peace, Danny Green. Sup, Skap?
What's up, Jose? Great rendition there by Gary. Dennis Green. Denny Green.
Denny.
Yeah, the longtime coach, NFL coach, great coach. I think of him mainly as the Minnesota Vikings coach, because I was a big Randy Moss, one of my all-time favorite athletes. I don't mention his name really on here enough. I talk about Brady a lot, Jordan, Kobe, but But Randy Moss is one of my top 5 favorite athletes ever. Probably, I was obsessed with Randy Moss when I was like in high school range. So I think of him most. Denny Green as the Vikings coach, that coached young Randy Moss, Chris Carter, that team. But yes, Denny Green also coached, I believe it was the Arizona Cardinals for a bit there, where he went on this legendary rant about a game they lost once. And it read basically exactly how Jose has written it out. And Gary read it the same way that Denny kind of laid it out for us in the post-game press conference. One of the all-time great post-game rants you'll ever see. They are who we thought they were, rant by Dennis Green. So Jose, thanks for checking in. What's up to you? And Gary, nice read on that. I appreciate you. DSP Historical Society, like I mentioned, would be back again with a generous donation for us. Many thanks to you, DSP Historical Society. Thank you for your ongoing generosity tonight. And Gary, what does this most recent one say?
We've got a full-blown character arc here from DSP. He says, Pacers colors for a Pacers win game 6, obviously. National Basketball Entertainment keeping us hooked. Much love to Skap Space and Gary. As you remember, a few weeks ago, he was critical of your face. He's done a complete character arc. And now he says much love.
Yeah, DSP is back. Is resubscribed, is been obviously very generously donating to us tonight, and now also likes Skap's face. So I mean, I'm stuck with it. So I hope I'm okay with it, at least. I think I am. And obviously shout out to you, Gary, as well. DSP Historical Society. I hope you're right that they win game 6, so we can get a game 7, which will be played out. Oh, I don't know, like in 3 weeks or something, whenever the NBA decides to finally put that game 7 on. I kid. I think it's on the 23rd, so 2 days before the draft. So we'll have to see. But first things first, let's check the line. I have not checked the line yet. Let's have a look-see for game 6, which will be played in Indiana, which I can confirm is Thursday at 8:30, and it is OKC minus 4.5. So still favored, but a much smaller line than tonight's was. So we will see, DSP. Hopefully you're right, and hopefully we will get a game 7. I know I'm rooting for it. Vacation Wealth Partners back in yet again. And this one, Gary, I will read since it's to you. And as we do, I just mentioned, have the draft coming up. We are a week out, just about. The 25th is the draft. Today is the 17th, early morning for me. Fun one for you, Gary, from Vacation Wealth Partners. Are you more excited about Dylan Harper or Castle?
Well, we don't officially have Harper. We have the rights to draft him if we choose to, but we don't know if we're going to even have that pick or trade it away. We don't know. But I can say in general, I am excited about Castle, and I'm assuming that we're going to keep Castle, which we should do. Dylan Harper could also be a great addition. This is something Skap and I were going back and the trade deadline about De'Aaron Fox, because Skap absolutely thought 1,000,000% the Spurs should get De'Aaron Fox. And I was hesitant because I was like, he's going to demand a big contract. And this is why, because we've already got De'Aaron Fox. We've already got Stephon Castle. And now we've got the rights to draft another really good prospect in Dylan Harper. I would think I'd rather have – this is the thing. I hate saying this because I like De'Aaron Fox. But the thing is, he's going to be 28 next season. He's years ahead of our timeline, whereas Dylan Harper's 19. Castle's 20. Wembanyama's 21. They're on the same timeline and can grow together. Let me ask you, Skap. I may have asked you this, or anybody in the chat. Rutgers has Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, who are projected to go number 2 and number 3. Why was Rutgers so bad last year? If they had 2 of the top 3 guys in the entire league, why was Rutgers? They didn't make any noise in the NCAA tournament. Did they even make the NCAA tournament? I don't even remember them making it. Why would they be so bad if they had 2 of the top guys? That's what I don't understand.
but Dylan looks great on highlight films. I haven't watched him. If they draft him, I'll be happy with that. Or if they want to make a trade, I would be okay with that as well, assuming that the trade is good and smart.
Yeah, I think look, I checked out a couple years ago. I like right around COVID, I checked out on college basketball. I never really followed it back. I did watch Duke this year, just out of morbid curiosity of Cooper Flagg to see how he looked, if he was going to come to fruition and so forth. But in terms of your predicament, I think honestly, I think it's the Dylan Harper is pretty much the known number 2 guy, right? Like it's pretty much it's Flagg, it's Harper, and then a pretty big drop.
And then Ace Bailey is supposed to be good as well. I had heard that Ace Bailey was going to go number 2 throughout the season, and now all of a sudden it shifted to Dylan Harper, or at least that's from what I've seen. But Ace Bailey plays a different position and feels a different need, but he may not be quite as good as Dylan Harper. So it's one of those things you draft for value or draft for need. But the thing is, they're also saying they think Harper's going to develop quicker than Ace Bailey. I don't really know. Somebody else had a good trade. They said they were going to trade the number 2 pick, which would be Dylan Harper, to I want to say Washington, they'd get Washington's number 6 pick, but they'd also get Washington's number 18 pick. So essentially what they would do is they'd have the number 6, the number 14, and the number 18 in a pretty stacked draft.
Yeah, I do that. I would definitely do that. I would always I would draft the best guy. I would draft not for need, but I would draft the best guy on the board, or I would trade down for need. Like I wouldn't reach for something and then leave a better talent on the board and let someone else get him behind me. Like I would just improve my cache of picks behind. So I would probably do that if I were your Spurs. I would do that.
You know what we could do is if we took the 6, 14, and 18, we could just draft like the 3 best young prospects, complementary players to play with Castle and Wemby. And you know what we would look like? Kind of like the Timberwolves. But we'd be hopefully better, younger, and stronger. But to get those, we want long, lengthy guys.
Right.
On defense.
Right.
Listen, I love De'Aaron Fox, and I think he can benefit us for a couple years. But if we're building a foundation for what I'm hoping it can be a potential 15-year dynasty, I mean, sure, he can be on the first part. I don't know. He makes us better now, but we're gonna have to pay him $40-something million. And we're going to have to give Victor Wembanyama one of the biggest contracts in NBA history when we give him his contract, which is going to be in a year from now.
Definitely.
And I even got to thinking they may even Wembanyama may become like the first $1 billion contract if they put him over like a probably not, but I'm saying if you put him like say a 20-year deal at $1 billion or something crazy. I mean, with his health, that's the only question mark. So that's why they wouldn't do that. But I'm saying, I know it's outrageous to think somebody, but Dak Prescott's getting $60 million. So if Dak Prescott, sorry ass, is getting $60 million a year, is it that crazy to think Wembanyama could get $1 billion for 20 years? You know how?
Yeah, it's pretty much just like you said. The health is the one thing that would be the limiting factor. But to your point, like Kansas City did a similar deal with Mahomes, where they gave him like a $450 million contract, but spaced it over a much longer period of time than most contracts are. So it actually saves them money per year against the yearly cap hit, which is kind of like what the Spurs, the incentive would be for the Spurs to do something like that. But yeah, not overly crazy. I mean, they're gonna give him some kind of a record-breaking contract. There's no doubt about that. We've got Marco back in next with a suggestion that I think I can maybe get on board with. Gary, go ahead and read this one.
Beside coaching, maybe Joker can try to be GM too.
Yeah, why not? He averaged nearly a 30-point triple-double in the regular season. They fired his coach with like 4 games to go, so then he just started coaching the team as well into the playoffs. So yeah, hell, maybe now we might as well just go ahead and make him the general manager too. Why not? Maybe he can find out something that he could do with Michael Porter's bum ass that he is to get rid of that abomination, that albatross on the books. Just terrible. Just one of like 4 or 5 horrific contracts that are strapping the Nuggets right now. Why they're, again, I don't even know who they can get. Like Gary, you mentioned they're young bench prospects. Oh, they better hope that those guys turn into something, because they literally have no money to sign anybody at all.
Right.
So
yeah, thanks to Calvin Booth and their shoddy owners, that they really shot Jokic in the foot.
For sure. That's why, quite frankly, he should just demand to leave. Like, he should just go and say, yo, Josh Kroenke, why don't you find a GM so you can trade me? Like, that's what I need. I need you to start working on getting yourself as good of a package as you can. I don't care where it is, as long as it ain't here. So that's really what I hope would happen, but we know that's not going to happen. Oh boy, Skap's Extra Strong Cologne is in next. And what is this? Is this me as Donkey Kong or something, Gary?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to screenshot it and then zoom in so I can get a better, closer look here. But yes, I think you're right about Donkey Kong. Let's see. I want to say that you have a Donkey Kong Jr. next to you with, I want to say that's Dwayne Wade's statue head on top of the Donkey Kong Jr.
I think it is
body.
too. I think it is too.
And of course, climbing on top of a pile of bananas.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that is all. I do think that's Dwayne Wade's. If any of you guys have not seen the Dwayne Wade statue, he got a statue put up somewhere, and it was one of the worst statues I've ever seen. He was on hand for the statue unveiling. And I don't even know like how you pretend like you're excited about that or thankful or appreciative. It's one of the worst renderings I've ever seen. But anyway, yeah, Skap's Extra Strong Cologne has a picture of me. My head is on Donkey Kong's body, and then little Donkey Kong has the Dwayne Wade statue's head instead. And then, of course, a pile of bananas. So fantastic work as always on that avatar, Skap's Extra Strong Cologne. I, as always, appreciate you and all that you do on this stream. Gary, what does Skap's Extra Strong Cologne have for us tonight?
Which team do you think will make the biggest come up next season? I personally see a team in the East doing it, such as the Pistons or the Magic.
Yeah, I actually agree completely. I think it will be one of those two teams, actually. The West is set, I think. Had you asked me this question last year, I probably would have said Houston, and Houston was the 2 seed this year in the Western Conference. Now, they lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they still were the 2 seed in the playoffs. And I think, look, the West is set. Memphis is taking a step back. They were the 8th seed. I think Dallas takes a step up and becomes better next year, even with Kyrie Irving missing most of the year. I think Dallas will kind of slide into that last playoff spot for that, where Memphis is likely to drop out more than likely. But in the East, yes, I love what the Pistons did this year. Big breakout year from them. And then the Magic, I think, would have been maybe the 4th seed this year had Banchero and Wagner not missed most of this, like half the year. So now you get both of those two guys, hopefully at relative health, and this Bane acquisition that they just inked. I think that Orlando might be the 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference by the time the postseason. So I'd say either one of those teams. The Pistons, we'll keep an eye on their offseason, but right now my money would be on the Magic. Maybe if the Pistons do something the rest of the way into this postseason, that I might jump them over. But both of those teams, both good suggestions there for you to kind of answer your own question. And
I would say the Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't make the play-in this year. I mean, you got to think if De'Aaron Fox and Wemby are healthy.
True. Yeah. I mean, the West is just so stacked, though, Gary. That's the thing. Like, I think the Spurs, like, they probably could they get to like the 5 or the 6 seed for sure.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. I don't mean they're going to win a championship.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I think the Magic can maybe be the 2 seed in the East. So, like, but yeah, sure, probably though in a 7-game series, the Spurs would probably beat the Magic next year if both teams are fully healthy. But I think just the East is so much more wide open. I think a lot of teams are just taking this advantage to try to look. Would you have? I think you would have said midway through these playoffs that Indiana was like the fourth best team in the conference or something like that, like a tier down from the top. Now they're whatever, like they're two wins away from an NBA championship. I think a lot of teams in the East are looking at it and saying like that could be us next year. Like the East is so wide open. Let's just get there, get into the championship series, and who knows? I think Orlando is the first team to make a strike at it and try to do it. I think Banchero is going to take a step next year. I think he'll be all NBA. Wagner, I think, could be an all-star. And then, I mean, Bane, look, that's a nice constructed team Orlando has all of a sudden. They were I think they were seventh or eighth in net defensive rating this year. So, and Bane slides right into that. So I think Orlando you're right, the Spurs are going to be much improved. If they're healthy, they're going to for sure make the playoffs. They could maybe even get up to the 4 seed. I see them more maybe as a 5 or 6 next year, but we'll see what else they have to do if they maybe get Durant or something like that. We'll see. But for right now, I think my answer might be Orlando. But yeah, good question, Scaps Extra Strong Cologne. Next, we've got Burka, my other Serbian brother he and Marco, my boys from Serbia. What does Burka have for us tonight?
Well, I think it's safe to say the answer is going to be no. If Joker got traded, would you still watch Denver?
Yeah, that's a hard pass, Burka.
That'd be like torture.
Yeah, not only would I not watch Denver, no one would watch Denver at that point. Jokic is the only reason anyone does. I wish he would get traded. Quite frankly, it's the best thing for Denver to do too, I think. Denver cannot win another championship, in my estimation. As great as Nikola Jokic is, they will not win another title if they keep him for the rest of his career. So, like, why not maximize your return? He still has 2 years left on a contract. You have maximum. This will be the maximum amount of value that he has of your return. He's 30. He turns 31 in February. Why not fleece some team for everything that they have in terms of future picks and just start your rebuild now and try to start building towards something in the future? Because he's going to make it look interesting and entertaining. He's going to win you 50. He's going to be the best player in the world. He's going to sell tickets. But ultimately, you're not going to win anything, and you're just going to destroy his career. So why not, damn it, do the right thing and trade this guy, Burka, but don't hold your breath, because once they finally get around to hiring a GM, that guy will probably extend Jokic even more than those 2 years. Something that I'm sure Jokic would be fine with signing, unfortunately, for him and for the path and the trajectory of his career. We've got we've got Xavier DeGod back in with some popsicle-centric question. Here, Gary, go ahead and read this one from Xavier.
Yeah. If the Thunder wins, Skap and Gary have to suck on popsicles. Yeah, not going to happen. If the Pacers win, Skap and Gary have to lick ice cream cones. Yep, that's not going to happen either. Yep.
What is up with you guys with these sexually based questions? Are you trying to force me off of YouTube? Is that what it is? You're trying to get me onto like an OnlyFans platform? Is that where you guys want me more so than YouTube? There will be no popsicle sucking on here, Xavier DeGod. No, I'm gonna have to decline that. Perhaps I'll eat an ice cream if the Pacers win. That's going to happen. But there will be no licking ice cream on here. There will be no memeing me on the outcome of this series. Nice try though, Xavier. Nice try. Next, we've got Vacation Wealth Partners back in yet again. It looks like maybe a Gary-centric question. So I could read this one, Gary.
It's a comment.
Oh, okay. All right. Go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Vacation Wealth Partners. Again. Gary, go ahead and read this most recent comment.
He says, Gary used my favorite Kobe LeBron moment ever in one of his recent videos. Pretty sure Scaps used it too. When Kobe was blocking LeBron repeatedly in the All-Star game, like an adult making a kid cry. Yeah, I'm going to post a link in the chat to that video if you guys want to check that video out.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Was it, Gary, do you know off the top of your head, was it the 2012 All-Star game maybe?
Oh, I don't know what year it was. I just
I
looking
think
up.
it was the year he ultimately would rupture his Achilles. So I want to say it was 2012. And yeah, at that point, LeBron was firmly in the mix of people thinking he was the best player in the league. He would win that year's league MVP. Kobe was, I think, in his 16th or 17th season at the time. And Kobe just totally punked him in the fourth quarter. It was a close game. It was anybody's game. I think the West was up 3 or 4 points at the end of the third. And when it became winning time in the fourth, Kobe just totally shut down LeBron. He was picking him up full court, like not even letting him touch the ball. Wouldn't even basically let him shoot the ball. Turned him over a number of times, blocked his shot 2 times. And LeBron did not score a single point in that game until there was like 30 seconds or a minute left or something, and the West was up 8 or 9. So the game was over, and LeBron hit his first point, which was a free throw. And while LeBron was shooting those free throws, Kobe was strolling around midcourt just talking shit, just yelling to the guys, the broadcast crew, LeBron can't score on me, which was a fact. So like prime MVP LeBron playing against like 17th year Kobe just could not score on him because, quite frankly, Kobe was just better than LeBron. We all know it. Everyone here knows Kobe Bryant had it and LeBron never did. That's why Kobe will forever and always be above LeBron James. And Gary, did you post the link to the video that Vacation Wealth Partners has referenced?
Yeah, it's in there if anybody wants to check it out after the live stream.
Awesome. So make sure you check that out. Now we're going to go on a quick little run here. Let's do 2 Xavier, and we've got a Samson in the middle, but let's do real quick. Let's do these 2 Xavier super chats in. I don't know if these are hypotheticals or what. Go ahead with Xavier's first of the next 2, Gary.
No, it's not a hypothetical. There's a video that's on YouTube now. Did you see Skip versus 10 LeBron fans on YouTube? I have seen part of it. I need to watch the rest of it.
Is it a real? It's a real video. It's like Skip Bayless.
Yeah, there's this. If it's the same one, I'm assuming that's the one on the Jubilee website, I think. And what they do is they'll take a sports player, journalist, or whatever, and they have to debate a circle of like 20-year-olds who are asking questions and are debating back and forth over their generation versus the current generation. So you got a bunch of LeBron fans. Oh my goodness. One guy on here. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you what a bonehead this guy is. This guy said that Steph Curry should be the real GOAT over LeBron or Jordan. And he said Steph, and if you thought that was boneheaded, he's going to one-up himself. He says that Steph Curry's best years of his career are still ahead of him. And he says he's guaranteeing that Steph Curry's going to win another championship within the next few years, and going to guarantee to be better than LeBron. He's not. Did you see what Steph Curry did the last few years in the mid 2010s? Yeah, he's never going to be like that again.
No. And that is, Gary, just to clarify, that is one of the 10 guys said that in the 10 verse Skip Bayless, or no, that was someone in this chat said that.
No, that is from the video that I watched. Okay. I believe that it's the same video Xavier is talking about. It was a video on a channel called Jubilee, I think. And Skip Bayless was being one by one, a 20-year-old, 20 whatever, however old, would debate Steph Curry versus Jordan or LeBron. It was mostly LeBron and Jordan, but in the other. Sometimes they'll bring up Kobe, and then this guy brought in Steph Curry.
Yeah, I know, Xavier, to your question, I have not seen that. I'm not aware of that video existing, and I likely will not see it. Maybe I'll watch some of it, but not with takes like that Steph is the GOAT. I won't be spending too much time on that. But Xavier, I do like your next question here. Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and read this next question from Xavier, and thank you, Xavier, again. Gary, go aheare
you guys like Nick Cage as Ghost Rider or Big Daddy?
Neither are a good fit, I don't think, for Nick. I thought Ghost Rider was terrible, quite frankly.
Right, it was.
And it was sad because Nick Cage, for those of you who don't know, I am a big Nick Cage fan. He is obsessed with superheroes. He loves comic books. Superman is his favorite hero, and it was his dream to play Superman. And at the peak of Nicolas Cage's powers in the mid-90s, he actually was cast as Superman. And the movie was going to be set in Metropolis. The movie was going to be set in Pittsburgh. Metropolis was going to be Pittsburgh. So that's where they were going to shoot the film. I, as a huge Nick Cage fan in my youth in the mid-90s, was born and raised in Pittsburgh. So that was just going to be a great time for me to hopefully maybe go and see some of those sequences being filmed or whatever, or at least get to see the movie and be like, oh yeah, Pittsburgh. But sadly for me and for Nick Cage, that movie never did come to fruition. There's a great documentary that was created about it. The movie was going to be called Superman Lives. And there's a great documentary. It's like a 90 to 100-minute documentary on, I think Stars maybe did it with, the name of the doc is The Death of Superman Lives. And it's about the movie, the plan, what the movie premise was, the plot and everything. They had still frames. They had like sketches of different villains and scenes and stuff. It was pretty cool. They did a good job of like piecing together what the film was going to be like. And then they talked about like the behind the scene elements, like the studio specific financials, why the movie failed, why it never got off the ground. Very interesting story, very interesting documentary. And I thought you could find, if you just Google Nicolas Cage Superman, you'll see a test shot of him in like the Superman suit, long black hair. And if you see the image, your first thought will be, this movie would have sucked. Thank God this movie flopped or whatever. They canceled, the studio pulled the plug because this movie was going to suck. So for 20 plus years, I've just been thinking this was like kind of going to be like a comedy almost of how bad it was. But when I saw the documentary and I heard the plot premise of it and everything, I think the movie was going to be a really cool movie. So it's unfortunate that the other movies and other failures of the studio around that time made them pull the plug on the film. But yeah, you guys should go check that out. Nick Cage is a bit of a cautionary tale, I think. He was such a talented actor. He was such a big star in the 90s. He delivered a great performance in Leaving Las Vegas, where he won a very deserving Academy Award for Best Actor. But now the guy just takes anything. I think it's sad. I think he has financial problems. He's been in a lot of terrible, terrible movies in the last like 10 to 15 years. So it's kind of sad to see what the once great Nick Cage, what he has become in recent years. But he still does put some good work out. I am and will forever be a Nick Cage guy, but I really don't like him in either of these two things that you mentioned, Xavier.
Yeah, he's actually put out a few movies that have got gained a lot of popularity. I haven't watched a lot of them, but like this movie Mandy, a lot of people seem to like that. I didn't watch it because it just doesn't. I don't know. I'm looking over his filmography right now. Where I'm looking for. Okay, Mandy came out. Okay, 2018. That movie seemed like it just came out.
Well, it's still pretty recent, 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago. But some of these movies, Long Legs came out, and I didn't really like it that much. But a lot of horror fans really liked that movie. Renfield, where he played Dracula, that was actually pretty popular. I didn't watch that either. This movie, The Surfer, has got pretty good ratings. So he is turning it around and taking better quality than he did have a really, really rough patch for some time there. But it looks like he is coming back around. Probably never going to top what he did in the 90s, but it at least looks like he's coming out of that mediocrity hole that he was in.
Now, I will say this too. He did recently do, it's like, I don't even know. The name of the movie was crazy, Gary. It was like the immense weight of immeasurable talent or something like some crazy
The unbearable weight of massive talent.
There you go. He did that one recently. When's that? Like 2022 or something?
2022. Yep.
He did that one with Pedro Pascal. Really clever film. I really like that movie. funny, very, very funny movie. He plays himself basically, and he kind of picks fun at like how bad his career has been, and like he's essentially takes money to go hang out with this random guy for a weekend, and like this like they have this crazy adventure together, the two of them. Pedro Pascal plays this like multi-millionaire who pays him to come hang out with him for a weekend because he needs the money so badly, but they end up having this crazy kind of adventure. It's a really funny movie. I like the film a lot. So
okay, warning alert. What I just said, we've got a bump in the road. His very most recent film, according to his filmography on IMDb, was called Gunslinger, and boy oh boy does it look horrific. It's got a 3.6 rating, 3.6, and it's starring Stephen Dorff and Heather Graham.
Ooh, yeah,
so,
those guys are beyond their prime too. Those two.
So let's hope we get them back on the right track again. This is Nicolas Cage. He's unpredictable. You don't know if you're going to get something great or something truly crummy.
Very true. Okay, we skipped over Samson. Let's get back to Samson the Current. Thank you, Samson. Welcome into you tonight, and thank you for your continued support of us here. And Gary, what is the question or comment from Samson tonight?
To Braun, that scoring list is the GOAT list. Dirt 6.
That's probably true. That probably would be in some reasonable facsimile the all-time scoring list that I read off in order would probably be close to LeBron James's, what in his own delusional mind, what he thinks is the GOAT list. I actually have been meaning. I've had a busy weekend. I actually was a little under the weather as well. So I have not made a video in a couple of days. So I've been meaning to do a video on this. I don't know where Tom Brady appeared on, but he recently appeared on either a podcast or he was being interviewed somewhere. Gary, do you know what I'm about to talk about? Have you heard this at all?
You said Tom Brady's on a podcast.
Or something. He's being interviewed. I just didn't know if you heard this. But I'm probably going to do a video on it maybe tomorrow. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been meaning to. Brady is interviewed and asked for his Mount Rushmore. So he, like in all sports, like who are his GOAT athletes?
Oh, I did see a clip of that, and he did not mention LeBron. He didn't acknowledge LeBron at all.
Yeah,
he even said he liked Angel Reese with Caitlin Clark because of the rivalry. But
yeah. So he mentions 8 or 9 names, and none of the names he mentions is LeBron. The first 2 names that he mentions, Jordan and Kobe. So those are the first 2 names that pop to his mind, the great Tom Brady's mind, when pushed for who he thinks is great. Jordan and Kobe are the first 2, and that's in all sports, because the next name he mentions is Tiger Woods after those 2 guys. And another thing I thought that was of note of that was that the great, classy Tom Brady did not say his own name. So if LeBron, of course, was asked for his Mount Rushmore, of course, we know his name would be the first name that he mentions. So yes, Samson, good point there. And then finally, last but not least, again, DSP Historical Society in one final time here. Not sure what this means, but nonetheless.
Ninja, y'all still live. I guess he's saying that we've been on for a while. He's surprised that we're still live. So we are for the time being, but
we are. And speaking of which, we are wrapping things up here. Yes, we were still live up until, And I was going to say we were just about ready to wrap up, but DSP came back in again with yet another super chat here. This is the last one. We are over 2.5 hours now, and it is inching ever so closer to 2 a.m. on the East Coast in the USA, where I and Gary hail from. So yes, we are both probably getting ready to sign off here. But as always, I will never sign off as long as there's a super chat, because I'm so appreciative of you guys for your support and your ongoing generosity. So we just got another one in here as well after this one from DSP. So let's go ahead and first hear this most recent one from DSP Historical Society, who has been quite kind to us tonight.
Okay. Gary really drives this show. Good looking finding him, Skap. Dirt just rhymes with jerk. That's why I said it.
Yes, Gary, many thanks obviously to you for your ongoing work. Great work that you do for us here in the lounge on the Scaps After Darks for sure. And Dirk may rhyme with jerk, but he's not a jerk. He's actually a very underrated and underappreciated player, DSP. So I appreciate you actually giving me the opportunity to talk about the great Dirk Nowitzki because he just does not get enough credit, really probably from even me, though I did do a video, one of my few positive videos that I did about Dirk probably about a year ago now at this point, but it was, I thought, a very good retrospective of Dirk's career, though not a lot of people watched it because people just don't care about Dirk because he's just so underrated. But thank you again, DSP, for continuing to come in here tonight and support us. And speaking of support, Jason Price with a very generous donation to us here in the lounge. So many thanks to you, Jason. I do appreciate you as well. Another regular sponsor here and a very generous sponsorship for us here tonight. So I do appreciate you. Gary, what is the question or comment from Jason?
90s through 2005 defense overrated. Low league scoring does not equate to better defense. Also, illegal defensive rules do not negate double teams. Illegal defense meant you had to either double team or stay with your man.
I don't know. That's not the way I remember seeing the illegal defense is called. Like you basically, if you weren't on, like it, basically if you weren't on a guy, like if there was a guy uncovered, like I seem to always remember whistles being blown. I specifically, if there was someone floating around near the paint area, definitely a free throw for sure. I don't know, Jason. I got to disagree with you here. 90s to 2005 defense, not overrated at all, in my opinion. 90s to 2005, by far the golden era of defense. I mean, how would you say that 95, 96 point per game league-wide scoring averages does not equate to better defense? I mean, I think that it does, quite frankly. When would you? So, Jason, this would be my follow-up question to you. If you think that the 90s to 2005 were overrated defensively, what then would be the better defensive eras in your estimation? I mean, I think maybe the 90s gets lumped in with the two. I think the 2000s actually was harder to score in than the if you look at the whole 90s as a whole, because the early 90s still up to the mid 90s were still at, I'd say, pretty closely paced to the 80s, which was 108, 109-ish. But then when you get into the mid 90s, into like 2006, 2005, 2004, like we're talking 93, 95, 96 points per game, typically on average. So, and there were very, very talented offensive scorers in that span of time. Most typically, I'm talking, of course, about the great Kobe Bryant, who, some years, I think there was one year, I want to say it was like 2004. I just want to look this up. Just bear with me here. 2002 in the 2003-2004 season, league-wide scoring was 93 points per game. 93 points per game. In that season, Tracy McGrady led the NBA in scoring, while Peja Stojakovic and Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant basically all were like very close on top of each other, 2, 3, and 4 at 24 points per game. So Kobe Bryant in 2003, 2004, in his relative prime, was averaging 24 points per game. And I mean, I look, if you fast forward to the year he did rupture his Achilles, Kobe Bryant, that is, his year 2012, 2013, his 17th year in the NBA when he was 34 years of age, he averaged 27 points per game that year. He averaged 28 points per game the year before in 2011, 2012. I think the same thing bears out with LeBron James. LeBron James is averaging more. He averaged more like 38, 37 years old than he did at 26, 27 years old, because the defense is different now. The league is different now. It's spaced differently. People play differently. I do see Jason Price is back in, though.
He's got two more.
Clarifying more with 2 back-to-back. It's one of the factors, but it's also better score. I'm not sure exactly.
And he's got one more.
One more.
Piggybacks.
Thunder could teach a clinic to any 90s defense. Well, look, this Thunder team, Jason, I've been saying it for 8 or 9 months. We're going to be one of the greatest defensive teams ever. So I do agree with you that the Thunder defense is very good, but I wouldn't say necessarily they were markedly better than the 2007-2008 Celtics, and I wouldn't say that they were markedly better than the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons. But other than that, in the last 25 years, yeah, this is the best defense ever. Arguably the best defense, even including those 2 teams. But I've been saying that all along. I'm not talking about the Thunder. You picked one anomalistic team out of 29 others. Look at the teams, by and large, the teams like the top, 15 or 16 defensive teams today versus the top 15 or 16 defensive teams in 2003, 2004. They're better across the board in 03, 04. So that's where I give the pushback. You've picked one anomalistic team that has arguably the best defensive on paper set of any team ever, when you realistically do have 7 guys, like 7 of the top 15 to 20 defenders on one team. Cool. But who are the next, like, what's the next best defensive team in today's league, in today's era? Like, I don't know, the Timberwolves, maybe? I don't know. You pick, Jason. Who's the second best team right now defensively? They're not better than the Spurs were defensively in 2004 or whatever. So I just think, and even when you look at that, when you look at the 2007, 2008 Celtics team, like, there were other really good high-end, high-quality defensive teams back then. I think, so I guess, is Jason's point here that today's defense is underrated then compared to the 90s and the 2000s are overrated? Jason, I love you. I appreciate you so much for your ongoing support and generosity, but I must strenuously reject and push back on this premise if you're trying to suggest that today's defenses are as good or equivalent. Just stop this nonsense. If Kobe Bryant were playing today, he would be averaging 40 points per game. Same with Michael Jordan. I didn't see Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant averaging 40 points per game when they were playing, but they would have in today's NBA. For sure they would. We just talked about, like, Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki would be averaging, like, routinely 30, 32, 33 points per game in today's NBA. The guy's a 20-point per game scorer for his career in the NBA. That's how much better it was back then. Some of it, yes, does involve the pace of play and the spacing or lack thereof, for sure. But a lot of it also has to do with the fact that those guys defended at a high level. Look at the best players the NBA had to offer back then, Jason. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. Those guys were elite all-world defenders too. Like, show me an elite two-way player today. I'll wait. Like, SGA, he's not even all-NBA defense. So, like, show me a cat today that is all-NBA first or second team that's also all-NBA first or second team defense every year. They don't exist anymore. You have, like, specialty players now, like 3-and-D wing players, like that. Their only job is to play defense. It's not the same. Everybody was expected to play defense back then. Everybody, even the stars, even the dudes like Kobe, who was averaging 30 per game and leading the NBA in scoring, were expected to strive for excellence on the defensive side. It just ain't the same today. So I have to strenuously object to your overall premise that the 90s and 2000s were somehow overrated defensively. But still, nonetheless, I greatly do appreciate you coming in and keeping the conversation going. And, of course, for supporting us here. Another very generous night from all of you out in the lounge. 40 super chats. It seems like it's just pretty much the baseline, though. Every night I come on here, it seems like you guys are out here and helping in sponsoring me. Oh, we got Jason back here again. We've got Jason with 4 straight. And one more question in here. Gary, go ahead and read this one from Jason.
You should watch a few great 90s games, whistle to whistle. Our memories are fooling us.
I mean, I grew up then, Jason. Like I watched a lot of 90s basketball. I watched more probably. Look, I mean, I'm of a certain age where like I was still kind of a kid in the 90s, but in the early 2000s, like let's say I was in high school for I was in high school in like 98 to 2002-ish, I think. If my old senile memory is not failing me, I was in high school from 98 to 2002. So I vividly remember the early 2000s. I vividly remember the Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal Laker era. Like, I'm telling you, I know it all. It's not the same, Jason. It's not. Like, I vividly remember Kobe Bryant winning his 5th NBA championship against the Boston Celtics in the 2009-2010. I vividly remember 4 Hall of Famers on the Boston Celtics and the greatest scorer in NBA history, almost, in my estimation, in Kobe Bryant. He's in the mix. He's one of the 3 greatest scorers in NBA history. I think you can make a case. I can make a case that he's the best scorer ever. He's definitely top 3. I remember a game 7 in that series that was 83-79. Okay, that was a game 7 in the NBA Finals back then. Let's go to the 2009-10 NBA playoffs and check it out. I just want to get a snapshot of the whole playoffs here. In the 2000 it would have been the 2010 NBA playoffs, so the 09-10 season. In that NBA postseason, for the entire run, 97 points per game for all teams across all series in those playoffs. This year, I mean, we're probably sitting at around 109 or something like that. Let me just check it out for you, Jason. 109. So 109. So it's 12 points per game higher right now in today's playoffs than it was in the 2010 playoffs. And in that final series with, again, you had Rajon Rondo, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. Like 4 Hall of Famers, 3 perennial all-stars on that Boston team, and then arguably the greatest scorer ever in Kobe Bryant. The Los Angeles Lakers in that 7-game series that they won averaged 90.6 points per game for the whole series. The Boston Celtics, 87.1 points per game for the whole series. So Kobe was dropping 29, 8, and 4 per game in that series, 29 points per game. The whole team averaged under 91. So I don't need to go back and watch anything, Jason. I have an excellent memory. Excellent. Like, I remember things, literally, I remember these games, these situations like it's the back of my hand. It's not the same. Like, I watched that game 7. It is seared into my memory banks. Seared. The game 7, 83-79 final. In the fourth quarter, the Lakers scored somehow 30 points in that quarter, but only 83 for the game. So do the math on what they had before that. It was, I don't know, that game, the Lakers
53 and 3/4.
Say that again.
It would have been 53 and 3/4.
53 points in 3/4. Like, they were down by like 14-ish points in the third quarter, and they had like 30-some points. Like, they had like 38 points for the game in the third quarter. And they had the great Kobe Bryant and the very skilled Pau Gasol. Like, it's not like that today. It's just not. Like, you could say whatever you want about the Thunder. They are great, but the Thunder have had some lapses here. They've given up some points here to the Pacers. They've given up a couple questionable halves in this series that you just didn't see teams give up back then in that NBA. But Jason, of course, I do appreciate you. And he is in yet again for yet another, a 5th consecutive super chat to end our night here, Jason. I very much appreciate you. Gary, what does this last one say?
You're the best, Skap. Thank you. Review illegal defense regarding double team. Good night.
You have my word, I will. Perhaps I am forgetting or misremembering the illegal zoning and stuff because look, again, I told you I was in high school from 98 to 02. I think the illegal zoning rules went out, the illegal defensive rules went out in 2000 or 2001. So look, I'm still a young kid, don't know much back then, 17, whatever years old. So I'll have to go back and check out the context of the illegal zoning rules. You have my word on it, Jason. I will do that. But in terms of the effort that the players in each individual player and teams on a nightly basis were giving, by and large, in the NBA of like the early 2000s versus today, it's not even a comparison in my estimation. But the Thunder, I'm with you, are all-time great on defense. I will give you that. And thank you, Jason, very much for your kind words and for your absolute generosity here and coming in and ending the night with 5 super chats. I appreciate the hell out of you. And I appreciate all of you here in the lounge. Another stirring rendition of the Skap After Dark. It's been a lot of fun tonight. Gary, moderator Gary, many thanks to you for being here again and for all that you do. And guys, we are pushing the 3-hour mark, so I'm going to get out here. But if something crazy happens, we're off. The game does not, the series does not resume until Thursday. So a couple days off here. But if some crazy thing goes down trade-wise, if Kevin Durant is traded or something like that, I will likely jump on sometime in the next day or two to discuss that. So keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled, so to speak, for that. And perhaps, depending on what time of the day it is, moderator Gary will be on with me as well there. Until then, guys, please do make sure you are subscribed. And if you do not have them, turn those notifications on to stay up to date with me. Please go over to Gary828 Sports channel and give those videos that he recommended of you as well, and subscribe to him there. If you are not, to help him get to 1,000 subscribers there. He's almost there, so help put him over the top, guys. And again, stay tuned because I might jump on here sometime in the next day or two to talk some crazy trade. But until then, everyone, have a great night. Have a great couple days, and I will see you all next time.